Perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am your host, me, and we are talking about House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 9, The Green Council. We are recording on October 23rd, 2022. Joining me in studio is Glenn of House Dog.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah? What are you drinking tonight?
I have a Breckenridge Brewery Vanilla Porty.
Vanilla Sydney Portier. Joining me via the interwebs is Benj. How's it going?
Howdy, I'm alright.
How are you today? Doing all right? Good.
Doing alright.
Yeah, what are you drinking there?
So, in honor of this episode's cinematography decisions, I am going with a version of Absence of Light from Four Hands Brewing. This is Fat Elvis, so it's the Absence of Light plus banana. So, dark chocolate, peanut butter, and banana milk stout.
Wow.
Very nice. Very cool. I haven't seen those yet. I'll have to try to find one for sure. Also joining me via interwebs tonight, Gertie of House Condescension. Welcome back.
Hi, good to be here.
Yeah, how you doing today?
It's been a long day, but I'm good.
Yep. I hear you on that one. What are you drinking?
Out of my In Dolly We Trust cup, I have Jameson and Coke.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't have a beer in front of me, but
You want one?
I'll take a beer.
Take a beer?
Yeah, I'll take a beer instead of going to whiskey, which would have been what I was going to back it up with. So,
And he is drinking a
O'Fallon Weech. So we'll crack that open here in a second. Thank you all for being here. If this is your first time here, we truly appreciate you being here. If you're returning, welcome back. This show and all the shows at Drawbridge Media are produced with the love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. You can learn more about our reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. This episode was right around 57 minutes long. It aired a week ago on October 16th. It was directed by Claire Kilner and written by Sarah Hess. Abby, can you give us the episode description?
Unmute. Got it.
Preferably unmuted.
Yes. Allison enlists Cole and Aemon to track down Aegon. Otto gathers the great houses of Westeros to affirm their allegiance.
All right, we will judge if those things happen towards the end of our episode here. So, to get us kicked off, hey, Glenn Dog, can you tell us about the credits?
Yeah, the credits, we have the Padman, Olivia, and Reese.
Okay, a little
Just those
different.
three, yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of, go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it was odd having Patty still getting the top bill since he was quite literally just laying in one scene. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them do that
I'm
before.
kind of confused too because it seemed like Reese. There's those couple of episodes when he got dismissed as the Hand, where he was still in the
Yeah.
top build, and I don't think he appeared on the episode.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious, kind of what goes into all of those decisions. You know, like is it just contractual? Like regardless of
it's all
anything,
money.
it's right. Absolutely.
Rob. Could be for like Emmy consideration thing, like Patty for lead, Reese for not associate, but what's the support?
Sure.
Something like that. I could see that.
Best supporting
Also,
actor.
Viz's sigil filled up with blood this time,
Mm,
and the bloodline went to a different sigil for the first time.
gotcha.
It
Okay.
didn't go down Rhaenyra. It went down to a different one. I'm assuming is Aegon's.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm
Cool.
so confused by that whole
Yeah,
sequence.
as to how which sigil is which former Targaryen,
Sure.
previous ancestral Targaryen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some good deep dives out there that if you wanted to, you could look up, and I'm sure someone's gone and broken them all
I'm
down
sure
and
I
everything.
could.
I'm just saying there's options for you, I bet. I also wanted to point out, like, it probably could be set, even if they don't appear in the episode, if they shot things for this episode that didn't make the final cut. Like, I think that can probably go into it a little bit as well. Maybe Patty had more things that they had worked on that just didn't make it in the final cut of it. So, anyway, we don't really know, and honestly, probably don't really care that much. But that's okay. Let's jump to our first scene.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to point out that I see a few people in the chat that we're looking for an episode title. So if anybody, get the wits sharpened up a bit and go out there, try to think of something clever.
Use your wit sharpener.
All right, next scene we have our story continues as a dreary castle sits kingless before creatures become stirring. A kid tells a secret. Alicent learns of her husband's demise. OVH asks Alicent who knows. Alicent tells OVH the king's final decree.
Glinda, I'm going to let you jump into this one with your own thoughts.
Yeah, so I think like the first really like scene, you just have this dreary castle. Like there's not a lot going on. Maybe a couple fires lit. But that's it. That's just in my opinion. Like if I usually wake up pretty early, it's kind of the pro to waking up early is you just get that quiet before the hustle and bustle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's the best part of it.
Sure.
It sucks to wake up early, but I just love I love that for some reason.
Where you can kind of relax before jumping into the stress
Right.
of the day or whatever.
You can drive. There's not a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. And looks like we see some people taking advantage of it. We see the little kid who goes and tells the tale, right? He kind of has the information, passes it along to the handmaiden. She goes up and tells our queen Alicent. Abby, any thoughts on how Alicent reacts or the transfer of information?
I was a little confused on who this kid was. He was very blonde for me to just believe he was a random, I don't know, child in the palace or whatever. So I was like, wait, which one is this? And I'm still not sure if that is not, in fact, a relation of some sort, and I just missed it.
There is a fourth son technically.
So I mean, like,
Or
hey,
a third son.
maybe we got it there. I'm not really sure. It was just funny to me that, and I think about like all the kids, me included, like when you're little, like you don't even want to run into the basement because there's like creepy things down there. And this child in like the dead of night doesn't stub a toe, nothing. Like doesn't I'm impressed. Well done, little guy.
Yeah, he might be like the king's cupbearer or something, like his chamber hand or whatever, and just is cast with staying in the night in case something happens, to give an alert. I'd see something like that. But like I said, I think it's Darren is the third brother that has never been mentioned.
Right.
I
would say like
I'm gonna say it's Darren.
He's like affiliated with that spy group or whatever. So I don't know if he's telling information to what's her name, Talia, then I assume that
Talia.
he's kind of important.
Yeah.
Hmm. At least
I wonder, was that the same kid from the streets?
very
that
likely.
Told,
I mean,
no, Otto.
no?
That would have been years ago. That would have been years and years. So wouldn't make
Right,
sense.
right.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, so Queen gets information, right? And she seems pretty upset about it, like genuinely sad, and stricken by the information. I don't know, I thought she was genuine, it seemed like she feels the loss of it, and
Mhm.
uh, knowing that she just got this information the way she heard it, right? We all kind of know that that's not really what Viserys intended, but the way she heard it and took his last words, this is kind of like a rough spot for her to find herself in, of like, oh, now I have to go literally tell like the entire kingdom that he changed his mind without having anyone else having an opportunity to like
Right.
ask about
And
it.
I think
And
like the thing with her talking to OVH, like it's just they want to get their shit together before all the news gets out, and everyone is demanding answers. Or on the other side, like people are like, oh, well, remember when we pledged fealty to Rhaenyra, and then calling for her to come, without. It just could cause a lot of problems.
yeah, absolutely. Getting their ducks in a row and knowing it's going to be a tall order. She thinks it's going to be a tall order to convince people. He doesn't seem to be that worried. He's kind of like, well, this is great. That's exactly what we've been working towards, right? And, she says, that was his final wish. And she kind of like reaffirms in that conversation. He's like, that I'm being honest. Like, that's legitimately what happened. Like, I'm not even trying to swindle anybody. Like, I'm not just saying it just to get the word out there. This is what I understood his last words to be. Abby, any thoughts on OVH, Otto von Hightower, and
I mean,
Alicent?
he is who he is. I don't know. Like, he says, "Oh, who knows?" and I immediately am worried for their safety. Like, uh, I don't know. No, and she wants to be this. She's worried about like Rhaenyra and what this implication is, but she still runs to him. So
Right,
I don't know.
right.
Like I think by the end of the episode we see a different look in her eye about who her dad is, I guess, and maybe he's not just Team Alicent. Um, but I just felt like it was a misstep to even inform Otto. But I don't know. It's her dad.
Yeah, I think she's like the only one she has, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you can debate other people, but
Sure. I mean, at least she didn't go straight to Laris. That would have
club
been
sandwich.
Club Sandwich. That could have been a
She
little.
really needs to get out more. I swear. She
And his
needs new
couple
friends.
new friends.
Just put one
Yeah.
foot in front of the other.
Mhm.
Any
Like
any other thoughts on the kind of the initial information about the king and moving forward here? All right, Glennie, take her away.
Next scene. The council meets an hour early. With the king dead, the council begins the long-laid plans for succession, much to the chagrin of Alicent, also to the chagrin of Lord Beesbury, as he stands against the treason and is killed in cold blood. Lord Commander Westerling attempts to reprimand Cole. Alicent learns of the council's plan for Ray Lewis. OVH orders Westerling to Dragonstone. He disobeys and puts down his white cloak.
So we've got Mr. Nick Lannister kind of is the first person to talk, right? He complains like, "What are we doing that it's so an extra hour early? Like, what couldn't wait? Did someone
Sorry, we
invade
woke you up
Dorne?"
an hour early.
Yeah, it's like you have a job to do, okay? And like you've seen the king lately. You could probably put
Right.
it together pretty quickly.
You know something's up if
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about an ice cream social that we're having later.
Yeah, we
What
want
are
to
your
get
thoughts?
these best laid plans, But someone has to say something to kind of get the information started, and it's just funny that it's still the actor. It's so specifically matching like the way that Tyrion spoke in the show. Like it's clearly the Lannister kind of dialect of their regional. But we get the information, and it seems like no one skips a beat besides Beesbury and OVH. Or beside and Alicent. I mean. They're all just kind of like, well, this is great news. Let's keep working on the things that we've been working on for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
Have they explained like the balls or whatever that they put in the
No.
holders?
no, and it seems like it's not something that they had in Game of Thrones either. It's clearly seems to be like if you hold one of those, it's like your position piece. Like you just have that.
Have a ball.
You have a ball, and they're planning a ball. Let's have a ball, and it's kind of it seems like it's a bit of a way to show that they're present or not. Hey, did you bring your ball? I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Well, your ball's not here, so you can't.
You
try
I just
can't-
want to see somebody throw one out the window, just like, yeah, you can't talk anymore. Fuck off.
We get Beesbury kind of standing up, and he's like, "Are you guys serious right now? Like this is a thing? Like we're really talking about doing this? Like, and you guys have clearly
I think
been
it's-
working on
yeah,
this,
it's clear that he wasn't involved in the
right?"
planning because I guess they probably knew that he wasn't going to stand for it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So he stands up against it, right, and makes it very plain. Abby, any thoughts throughout that
I
opening? there?
do. I thought it was real. Like he obviously is very much like I've known him the longest. He has for years said that this is how it's going to be. This is the succession. This is blah blah blah. But then he makes a point where I was like, man, like, how do we know he succumbed of his own, like,
I mean, it's a valid
demise?
claim.
No, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel like it is the weakest claim of all of them, though. He has a hole in his face, like I I guess for me, like, it's just like, how did he not die yet? Like, how is that?
Like when he
where you're
says-
gonna go?
He said he was well last night. Like
Yeah, he was well. By what standards? Like,
But
He
it's
look-
just
he's looked like shit
convenient
for
that
years.
He happens to die just after this
no.
is told to his wife, and just after his daughter takes her whole family by ship. So at least it's like a day's travel to Dragonstone, and it just so happens that it's just this morning now, just after that, I
I'll
would
take that. Like
It's
you know.
it's the convenience factor of like this
Yeah.
and the coincidence factor. It's like, and he also is just finding out that they've been plotting to change the rule anyway, and so
Yeah.
why not just pull the trigger on it now and get the ball rolling the way that they want it to? So I think it's valid, especially for the information of how it just came up, to light in this moment. So I think it's fair that he would be like, well, who's to say that someone didn't kill him, and
right.
I forget who says it, but they're like, who on this council are you accusing of of regicide?
Regicide.
And he's like,
yeah.
I don't know, one of you, all of you, none of you. I don't give a shit. Like, it's
Right.
clearly something could be up right now. Something might be
Yeah,
you
they're
have
afoot.
an
fucking
entire
treason.
plot going behind that I know nothing about. That like
All the
you
cards
know?
are on the table right now. Like,
Yep.
that's where he's coming from. And so he gets pretty animated, stands up, and is like, I am not gonna be a privy, I'm not gonna be a part of this. I'm not gonna allow this to go, quietly. And Kristen Baby Cole,
He's
he
killed in cold blood.
in cold blood. He just walks over and he says, "Sit." Like he just really loses his temperature, or his
Yeah,
temper
I
like
mean,
crazy, and he goes, "Sit
It
down."
kind
He
of went from 0 to
shoves
60
him.
real quick, and I don't think he like intended to like kill him. I think he was just trying to forcefully make him sit down. It just went too far.
Yeah. I think Cole is a real problem.
He is a.
And I do
oh
know
my
book
God.
wise, technically,
Terrible.
according to where it's written, he slits his throat in the book. So he
Technically,
makes
there are
That's different
3
than-
accounts that we don't
I
know which one it
understand.
is, but yeah,
Gotcha.
they do
Okay.
After
say
this.
one report was that they slit his throat. One other report was they sent him down to the dungeons, and we don't know which one it really is. So
Well, I
this is
mean,
kind of a
Show wise, it
Different,
looked
yeah.
like he got hit on the ball. So,
onto the ball.
so maybe
Yep.
maybe they
Yeah.
just did away with the balls after this. I guess.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
kill people.
Pretty
You get one
dangerous.
4-year-old that chokes on a Lego. Now every one of them has a fucking message on the box.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Well,
it takes.
You know better, you do better.
Abby, your
Anti-Hammer.
boy Westerling steps up
Yeah,
too to
he does.
Cole.
And he says, "Lay down like your sword." And Cole doesn't listen.
Not at all.
He, like,
He's
the
like, I won't
problem."
suffer any insults to my queen.
Right.
Okay,
And she
well,
says,
But this is your boss.
She wasn't insulted.
yeah,
This is your boss telling you what to do or whatever.
Right. He's got a case of the Mondays, I think.
And like, I think he's the only one out of like everyone's like, oh well, but like Westerling's the only one that steps up and is like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what was that? Like,
You just killed him,
right?
and I'm the only one concerned by this. What?
And he's like told to stop.
Right. Yeah.
Don't do your job.
Hey, don't do your job right now. Look, it's we get to the point that we need to for where the story is going, but yeah, like Cole he sucks, man. Like he just
He
sucks.
does.
And I was excited to like want to like him initially, and it's never gone well in my book to really
Nope.
respecting this
Yeah,
guy.
he hasn't done anything to.
Episode 5, like before episode 5, he was respectable.
He was respectable, but I still didn't like him.
I just feel like he's so reactive in everything that he does, but his reactions are so stupid. They're not an intelligent thought ever. Like, sure, we're not hearing him speak a lot, but every single reaction that he has is so like, what? Like, is there any forethought, any like game? Like, he is an unintelligent person.
There's no discipline either, especially when
Did I just say
Westerling.
unintelligent? Inintelligent? Whatever. Yeah, and zero discipline is the problem. So, that's terrible.
So the conversation comes up from OVH saying, we need to figure out what we're going to do with Ray Lewis, and he clearly, comes up with, we've got to kill him. We're going to give him a chance to proclaim, allegiance to the change. And Allison's like, she's not going to go for that shit. Like, she's not going to,
Right.
She's not going to bend the knee. And why would she?
You know where her husband is? You think
Right. And so they're like, and so she's figuring out like, oh, you just literally mean to kill them. Like,
Right.
just kind of give them the, the opportunity, knowing it's not going to go that way, but you're basically giving them a death sentence is what you're going to try to do.
I think Abby hinted at this like last scene, but it seems like a dividing point here and throughout the episode of Allison and OVH just kind of dividing within their like, thoughts and, game plan and stuff like that, where it seemed like they kind of leaned on, at least Allison probably leaned on the hand, for certain things, but now like it just seems like they're not on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And this seems to be a really big sticking point on like we shouldn't be killing them. Like that shouldn't be a thing. Like it's already tough enough what's going on with this last minute audible to the whole plan.
Right.
Like there's got to be a way we can do this.
They're not, neither one of them's going to go to the other side.
Right. They're clearly at an impasse. Mm-hmm. And OVH decides to send Westerling and his men to go and do this job. Right. And he says, I only follow the king's order. And until there's a king, I have no place here. Because he is just taken aback by what happened to Beesbury. He is surprised by the whole scheming stuff.
That they didn't let him do his job. It just kind of...
Right. Clearly he has no authority in this room right now.
Like,
oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he's supposed to be one of the people that has a voice on this council to some extent. Compared to other, knights, he should technically have some kind of say here. And that depends on the king and things like that. But yeah, he's like, because who's going to stop him? Is Cole really going to fight him right now? Like, is that
right?
He can take on Beesbury all he wants, but he's not going to, take the opportunity to try to off Westerling.
I mean, he looked like he wanted to fight him, though.
He wanted to, certainly, but until his pretty princess tells him what to do, he's not going to do anything.
Right.
And she doesn't want more bloodshed right now at all. She doesn't want bloodshed at all. So, yeah, this is like one of those big moments in all of the Fire and Blood stuff is, the Green Council of, they're holding onto the information. They're saying no one outside of this room can know, and we will not leave here. And they actually, wait overnight. Well. Right, absolutely. And they specifically say, we're not opening those doors until we get this all solved. And Westerling's like, I'm going to open those doors. He just leaves.
I'm opening the doors.
It was like 20 seconds later. They specifically, OVH, like, we're not opening those doors.
Hey, everybody.
You guys wouldn't believe what just went in here. But
I kind of feel bad for him because, he's kind of like embarrassed, like, and they're telling him what to do. He's like, fuck you. No, like, I'm putting down my cloak.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of wonder what's going to happen to him after this. If, we see him again or if.
I imagine we will. I think he's gonna. still have some parts to play, is my guess.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he does set the cloak down, walks out, right? And that's kind of the end of our scene here, right? I think that's about it.
That's about it.
Want to move on to the next one there?
Move on to the next one then. So we have next scene. Allison and OVH rush to Aegon's quarters to find him. OVH tasks Sir Eric Cargill with brother in the finding of the prince. Rhaenys gets locked in, as does essential workers. Allison tasks Cole in the finding of the prince. Aemon joins him in the hunt.
Benj, I'm going to jump to you on this one.
Yeah, so my notes of that first scene there where Allison goes into Aegon's and Helena's chambers, and she's like, where's Aegon? And Helena's like, not here?
Right?
Because she has no fucking clue. She's like,
She was
I
right,
don't
though.
care.
She
I
was
don't want
technically
to know. I
correct.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's, just like, I don't care. And she talking. I missed the comment she made, something about before the mom walks in, but it's not really something to tell him, but like it was like a parenthood kind of thing. I was like, okay, that's cute. And then she goes on to say something with Allison's all worried, and you just randomly hear, or she just goes, "The beast beneath the boards." It's like, okay, now that's something to ding, 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 pay attention to.
That's she's done that a couple times.
This is the third one, I think.
Yeah, she's like said something, and then come to find out like that happens where
kind of a premonition of some
really,
sort.
it's not like a, hey, there's going to be a dragon that comes out or whatever. It's just like
there's actually a couple others.
A one-off,
there's
like,
been a couple others, but they haven't come to fruition yet.
a comment or something that just
Yeah.
offhanded that no one's going to pay attention to, but then looking back,
Right, certainly. And this one we get within the episode, a pretty obvious meaning on what that is. And I don't know if she knows, what it means.
No.
It's just one of those. This
Just
is
gonna
whatever
put
the
words
muse that
together
it
and,
comes out, and
beast,
whatever's influencing her or whatever.
beneath them, there
You
we go.
know, there it is.
That's what I'm gonna
Boom.
say.
Or maybe she was just naming a new band. Beast
Beast
Beneath the Boards.
are playing later.
Oh
Coming up.
man, you want to go see the
Mom.
Beast Beneath the Boards? That's a good band name, actually. So yeah, I mean, we find out that Aegon is missing, right? And OVH decides, we need to get our hands on him, and he finds Sir Eric and decides, hey, you're the one that's supposed to be kind of his sworn shield, right? Is what it sounds like. It's like he's tasked to be specifically his guard. And Eric, kind of lets him know, like, he uses his authority and to like totally like not work with me,
Bring
and
your brother Arak.
sneaks away. And so he's tasked with, you got to go find this bitch, because we kind of need him right now, and don't tell anybody what you're doing. Don't wear your white cloaks. Take your brother and go find
I will
the
say,
prince.
like, it's already like confusing enough that these twin Cargill brothers look exactly the same, but they also have a similar name.
Eric and Arik. Yeah.
Who the hell is who?
I will tell you, I figured it out this episode. It took me on the second time. I had this on a later note, but Eric with an E, he's got a bit of a scruffier beard, and Arik has more of a trimmed. He's more trimmed up,
Like a triangle?
than Eric. Yeah, his is a little more
pointy,
triangled
more
out.
angular
Eric's a
for the
little
A.
fluffier.
Oh,
Could be.
geez.
Oh wow.
But I
Hopefully
did.
they
I did.
never shave.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way I could tell them apart. But it's that was the
Yeah,
one
they
thing I
definitely. If you know
picked
which one
up.
is, they do look a bit different, but they're usually so. And we're really just kind of getting to meet them in this first time where they're both in scenes together right now.
Sure.
So I think we'll get some more time to figure it out as to which one is which as well.
Like,
But
who was it that talked to Allison the other episode? Was that Eric? That was Eric.
Yeah, because
A.
he's
Arik. I think so.
Aegon's
Arik.
because he's Aegon's
sworn protector. Yeah.
protector. So that's like there was an incident.
Oh no, so it
With
was Eric. So it
Aegon's.
was Eric with the E.
Eric with an
okay,
E,
so
yeah.
that was Eric with an E was the one that.
I don't know
that's
what
why I gotcha.
Arak does. I don't know. He's probably got some.
He might be.
Job
He might
or
be
whatever, but-
Aemon's or he might be Helena's sworn shield. That would make sense. Put them on the married couple.
And then
Yeah.
like some days they could switch if they. I'm getting sick of Aegon. Do you want to take him? Can you please take him for a day?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
fine. I got you.
Yeah, I saw someone post this. It was funny that in Game of Thrones we couldn't have, Asha on there because it's too close to Osha, so we had to go with
Yeah.
Yara instead. But
Yeah.
now we've got Rhaenys, Rhaenyra, all these really similar names, and we've also got Eric and Arik. Like, really, like we couldn't figure out
Michael
Asha,
and Michael.
Well, last
Michael and Michael.
episode, just a quick I don't want to take what I said back kind of because I got confused at the end when Aegon is said like Viserys says I want Aegon or whatever the dream, and in my brain I transposed it to being Aemond. I want him to be. So I was thinking the oldest one was getting his head chopped off by Alicent. That's where, and I was realized like half. I was like, just kidding. I was so confused and not paying it. I don't know. The names are not that similar, but I just couldn't like. I don't know. Figure out what I meant.
I'm gonna touch back on a point with that a little later, Ab.
Gotcha.
I have something. Yeah.
Sure. So we also see Rhaenys getting locked in here, and she's like, "What the fuck is this all about?" Like, whoa, whoa! And she looks kind of out her balcony and sees all of the, like you said, essential workers
yeah.
getting kind of rounded up, right? And she's like, "Oh shit!"
And like kind of locked up too. Like for some reason they're like, "What the hell's going on?"
Right.
What are we doing?
I feel like this is like a very big missed point in dragon training. Like they're apparently like twin flames or souls or they're connected somehow,
quick
right?
soul bond.
Apparently. But you can't be like, hey, I am in distress. I really need a helper right now. Come get me. Like
There's
they
no like,
can't.
some kind of connection where you can just
Well, like,
dragon
you feel
team
like,
assemble.
yes, like I've just been locked in here. That's a
Hooty
pretty like
hoo. Hooty hoo.
concerning thing. Why isn't their soul connected animal coming to their rescue? Like I
Well,
don't get it.
the Melees is also locked in the dragon pit.
Okay, but she is a dragon. What good are they? Like,
They
It's like,
heed
how many-
like if she's told stay in the dragon pit, you stay in the dragon pit.
That's
but
like
if her soul is saying right, like I just feel like it's a
I get it. No, I get it.
no, Benji, you've played Red Dead Redemption. Like you just whistle and your horse
Yes.
is just magically there.
I've been playing
this.
Look,
Zelda?
off topic a little bit. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you whistle for your horse same way in Red Dead. And every time my son's like, "You calling your horse?" Yes, Sander. For the 500th time, I'm calling my damn horse.
That's the one with
Good job.
the Greeks or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it.
I'm playing Valhalla right now.
I'll be doing that one next. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway.
So we get the kind of counterpart to the Cargill twins being sent out. We get that Alicent has Aemond in the room and talking to Mr. Christian Caption Kaleidoscope Cole, and he decides, well, I got to go find him, right? Like, and she kind of tasks him with doing that. Aemond decides he's gonna go with him because Cole doesn't know what the fuck he's gonna do. Like he's a big dumb idiot. Like Aemond kind of knows it. Like he's like, you're not
You're gonna
really
fuck this
suited to figure this task out. So I'm gonna go ahead and join you. And by joining you, it means I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and you're
Right.
not gonna stop me.
I would say I'd say advantage right now is Eamon and Cole. I know like on the behind the scenes they said like the Cargill twins have the advantage or whatever, but like Cole walks in and he already knows, the plans in place or whatever for the Cargill brothers to go and do this, but they don't know anyone else is on the case.
Right. So they have the element of surprise, technically.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So the hunt is on. Glenn, take it away.
Next scene.
Yeah.
All right. We got Eamon Cole stops by a brothel to ask the prince's whereabouts. OVH demands the lords and ladies to switch allegiance and bend the knee. Oath keepers are taken away. Eamon Cole continues their search, as does the brothers Cargill, who stop by a children's fight club.
Ooh, Fight Club. Who wants to go first on the brothel stop?
I can
Go for it.
So I like. I see why like they're getting their own clues together and stuff like that, but like knowing all this, the brothers Cargill are on the case too. Like I just don't see why they don't just tail them the whole time, because assumingly they're going to the same places, right?
Maybe. I mean, right now we've kind of got, what Auric, who has typically been the one that was tasked with kind of following Aegon around. So he might think he's got a good idea of where he's going. We also have the counterpoint where Aemond thinks, well, I know where my brother would go because he's taken me to some of these places. So
the first one's the brothel, and like I think we find out that he hasn't been there in years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that would be just one place where he doesn't go to the brothel, so we'll skip that. Like,
right. At least not this one or this part of town.
Yeah, because like Eric already knows that. Oh yeah, that was years ago. He's into some seedier crap now. Aemond only he thinks he knows his brother well because he hung around him. He was trained, quote unquote, by him, and so he's going to take him to the places. Then he quickly realizes, oh shit, I'm out. Yeah, I'm even out of my element on this.
Mm-hmm. The brothel, head hen definitely seems to remember Aemond quite well,
Mhm.
right? She's like, hey, wow, you've grown.
You've grown up, yeah.
Wow, you grew up well. So yeah, I mean, that's clearly these little fake mustache, glasses, costumes they're wearing aren't working. Like people
Yeah, that's
know
another thing I
exactly
was
who
gonna
they
bring
are.
up.
Well, how many one-eyed Targaryens are there?
Right,
It's like-
right,
He's got a hood up, so he's
right.
secret.
He should be blending
But, like,
in.
Cole looks like an idiot, I think, like with that little beanie or whatever the hell he's wearing.
He just is an idiot. He's
Oh,
he's terrible.
Yeah, but he looks like one too.
He's fitting the bill. So we move on a little bit, right? And we see this is where OVH kind of assembles lords and ladies, right? And he's kind of saying this is all what's happened. It's legitimate. Like the thing was changed. The scene had changed, like the Viper Room.
It did.
And yeah, some people are just gonna buy right in and bend the knee and go along with it. Several others clearly are just not gonna go with
And they're
this,
not given
right?
time.
Really,
to-
only two really don't, and one was on the fence. There were several like maybe on the fence, and then once House fell, made their allegiances known. Everybody else was like, "Oh, this is what's happening." Okay, and yeah, my note was that House fell. Oh, they will have once OVH is done with them.
Right.
They're gone. I would have liked to known the first house of the first lord who basically said, I need to speak with the members of my house to decide. They didn't give them credit, and then the other one who was hesitant, who we saw later, we never found out who that was.
Right. Yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, assumed lord of something. Like we don't. Like, I'm surprised they didn't make it more public as to who
somewhere.
these names were in any of those
I
scenes.
wish that one would have been Lord Lightning Lord
Boris.
Dondarrion.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lord
No,
Lightning.
I wish that would have been Lord Dondarrion that Rhaenyra had kind of
Mm-hmm.
talk crap to
Yeah.
years ago,
Right.
to be the one who, obviously, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna kneel and then I'm gonna burn out, and he's still gonna show allegiance. I would have liked to seen that continuity or something, apart from just one random lord we've never seen or heard from or heard of.
Right.
It would
I
just been
do
something
feel
nice.
I do feel like at some point we will see it. Like these people, not all of them are just black and white thinkers, and they're like, "Yep, bend the knee, cool. I'm gonna walk out here casually, not in a hurry, in a group when everybody else leaves, and I'm going to fucking Rhaenyra." Like I do feel like there has got to be somebody in the wings that kind of saw where this is going and was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be quiet and hopefully.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
I think
It
this
is Game of Thrones.
like this bald-headed
World.
guy that it seems like he's on the fence or whatever. Like he just looks nervous the whole time, and it seems, because I think Club Sandwich is watching the whole time. I didn't write that down, but like he's watching this whole like thing take place, and maybe he's taking mental notes on, okay, this guy looks sketchy. Like I
Mhm.
don't know what his, because he takes a long time before he actually bends the knee. and he just looks like he's just sweating bullets. I
Absolutely.
don't know.
Yeah, and it does seem like they're, people will take this seriously from either side. If you do bend the knee, then how can Rhaenyra trust you, right? Because these oaths matter
Well,
a lot. So it's, yeah, you
they
can, like you
do.
were saying, Abby, you can play well, I'm just going to do this to keep myself safe and get out.
Yep.
But everyone saw you do it. So, like,
Yep.
how can Rhaenyra trust that you're not some kind of assassin, or some kind of something that's being sent to take her out too? Or why
You're
should
the
she
real
trust you?
Dumbledore.
So
Yes,
it's,
no, I get it.
yeah, I'm with you too.
You're
Like,
gonna
yeah, I would try to do that, but then at the same time, it's like, well, it's not quite that easy, unfortunately. I
no,
think so.
yeah. It's not easy at all. Every decision you make is possibly wrong. They all are the wrong decisions.
Right. Have you ever played the Telltale games, Game of Thrones? Oh man, there are so many ways your character just gets killed. You're like, I'm definitely making the right choice, and all of a sudden it's like, wrong choice. That person is
Yep.
dead now. Like,
Who would have done that?
especially when you're talking to Ramsay Bolton. Oh man, there is no right answer. You don't know which way to, like, it's tough, man. So oaths are taken, right, and other people are taken away. And we jump back to Cole and Amond here, and I guess where are they looking at right now? They're just kind of walking
So
at
they're,
this point.
I mean, yeah. Basically, they are kind of like they're just kind of walking, and then you see the brothers Cargill like ahead of them who
Mhm.
go into this children's fight club.
This is when Amond is like, I'm the one that studies history and philosophy,
Yes.
and like I would be a much better. He doesn't say I would be a better, but I think
He implies
it
yeah.
comes up again a little bit later. But I think this is that spot where he's talking about like I'm the one that's done the work. He doesn't even want this, like. But either way, they're tailing the Cargill boys, and yeah, we see a children's fight club. I think that's well stated. Who grow their fingernails out long, file their teeth down. It's pretty rough. It feels a lot like what Biter, what we have Rorge and Biter from the companions later on, where Biter always filed his
Yeah.
teeth down. That's just like the second time we've heard that. I don't know if that really ever came into the show much. We see them, but we didn't really get him named Biter much. But yeah, it's just interesting that there's this fighting pit, and clearly there seem to be some baby Aegons in here, right? Little bastard-born children
He's
from.
got his mark on the place.
Yeah, certainly, and like
Well, and
that's
that's the
pretty
thing,
messed
they
up.
were like 8 or 9 years old, so like at the point, so he's been doing this for quite some time.
Mhm.
Like he's been this way for a while.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, talk about endangering your family line by having, if like most, royal lines, you'd be really protective of letting that out, especially when it seems like this blood has some kind of connection with dragons too. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of
It's hard to be discreet if you look the way you do.
right. It's pretty
in
obvious.
Aegon's case.
Yeah, because who are the other options? Damon's not doing, Aemon's not doing this, so it's pretty clear that it's going to be the Aegon seed, if you will, for these little dragon seeds. Yeah, the children fighting stuff is pretty fucked up, right? Like
It's
that's
gross.
yeah,
It's gross.
Yeah.
Like I know that we have a whole history of like, human on human fighting for entertainment, but like throwing kids in to do it is just a level of depravity that's like it's sad that they can that like this probably isn't too far off from the truth, at least at some point in history.
Mhm.
And like it's happening under the peaceful or Viserys the peaceful, like that.
Yeah, it's like it makes you question
Like-
like what other kind of shit's going on.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
What other kind of
Because
I
it
stuff
doesn't seem like they
this.
had to like work their way down to like some hidden place. It seemed like this was, hey, you just
there
walk
was
right
no
in.
secret knock. There was
Right.
no
Right.
like it. Like it's just there. It's gross. I
And
think most people would hopefully dislike it. but-
yeah, we'll have a couple more things to say about it, I think, in another future scene where we'll come back to the idea of it too. So, any other thoughts here before we move along? Glendog.
Glendog. Aemon tells Cole his desires. One lord attempts to flee the city. A girl gives the brothers Cargill a lead. Club sandwich, but mainly the guards, thwarts the flee and turns the lord into OVH. OVH then questions sandwiches time with the queen.
All right. So this might have been the scene where Aemond is
Yeah,
talking about
right,
that. So either way, it was back-to-back scenes where he's saying, hey, I'm the one that's actually giving a shit about doing this, and I'm
Right.
second in line. So
he,
there's
he
that.
says, this asshole, like my brother, is hiding from this stuff. Like if they would come to me, like I'm gonna be found.
I'm going to be
intend
real
to be
easy.
found.
Yeah, I intend to be found. It's not going to be a question.
And then, yeah, Aemon does make the thing of I'm the next in line, and I had to double back to go to the children's scene with Helena. I'm like, does Aegon have a son yet with her? Because I saw the 2 kids, but it's both daughters, 2 daughters and stuff. So I had to double check that. But then also, with Aemon, he makes fair points. He's technically correct. He would probably be the better king. But Cole basically gives him, well, that's your lot in life. It's not a life. It's not a lot, but it's a life. Kind of bullshit. Oh, I've had to see. It's like, shut up, Cole. It's like,
I've read
yeah,
this
fine.
once. It was on the back of like one of those Dove chocolate wrappers. And I'm gonna say this to you now. I've been saving this one up. It's a good lesson
All right.
there. Like it's the dumbest shit ever. Like, oh, I hate. Sorry, Benji, I didn't mean to take you off your train of thought. It was
Go ahead.
dumb. Like, literally, you could open up a Dove piece of chocolate and be like, "Oh, love your life."
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought you were
had-
gonna read a Dove
I
thing
thought-
that
I
you've
thought
been
you had,
saving.
like,
The way-
No, I'm just
I was
reading
like,
off
man,
of
I'm
it.
ready for her
It
to
was
drop this
as-
knowledge on us. I'm with you.
it
I'm with
was
you now.
as
I'm caught
You got
up.
a fortune cookie today, yeah.
inspirational as
Yeah.
when you open up a piece and he was like, "That's a really good one. I'm gonna tuck that in my pocket and remember it for a moment just like this." Like,
We don't get to choose our lots in life. Fucking suck
you
it
just
up.
have to be happy where you are. Find
Right.
If you're
happiness in
happy and you
every
know
day.
it, clap your hands.
If you're happy to know it, shut the fuck up. It's basically what he's trying to tell him.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
man. Yeah, so that happens, right? And I think Cole just what a useful guy.
Yeah,
It's real
yeah.
great. That's what Aemon needs right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great
man.
insight, bro.
We
But
see. Go ahead.
As far as like the succession between like, and if he doesn't have, but if you remember in Game of Thrones when Joffrey had all Robert's bastards killed or whatever,
Mhm.
just for the same thing, of just I don't want anybody else that could have a claim to have one.
Right, absolutely. Because he's also. I don't know if he's aware of all the little baby Aegon boys running around too, right? Because technically they could have a claim if they got naturalized by somebody in power. He does. It seems like have several direct sons, whether it's with Helena or not. He does. That'd be the Gendry line kind of thing of, hey, there is a true bloodline that you could, if you're hanging your hat on, has to be a male, has to be king's son. That's technically a higher position than where Aemond would find himself. If someone could make that judgment call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we see Lord fleeing, and I didn't think he looked like he was in that much of a hurry. Like the horse seemed calm. He wasn't like looking over his shoulder. It just seemed like, yeah, clearly he's leaving time-wise rather quickly after that, but he didn't look like he was rushing or like being secretive. It looked like he was trying to do kind of what you were saying, Abby, of like, I'm gonna play it cool. I'm gonna go and do my thing. Like I can take my
You
horse
should've
out
got,
for
like,
a walk,
A
right?
bag of
Like,
groceries or
Okay.
something. I got to get these groceries home.
this milk is gonna get
It's gonna
warm.
go bad,
The ice cream's gonna melt, and I just
The
gotta get
wife
it
is
on.
gonna be real pissed if I'm gone any longer. Like
Right.
I gotta get going. Like
She thinks I'm at the Fight
I
Club.
got a 4-hour ride ahead of me. I'm hungover. I'm going the fuck home. All right, just let me let me get through the gates.
Yeah, they don't really seem to give him an option here at all, right? They're just kind of like, hey, seize him. They're like already on him, like pulling him off the horse, like immediately when they're like, hey, close the gate. Like they're already pulling him off the horse. Like, what? How did they let him get that far? If like clearly they were like right on him. Like,
Wait till he does the thing.
Right. Let's get confirmation that the gate does in fact open.
If you wait until the gate opens, then we have a bigger crime than just
Boom, there it is. That is caught red horsed, and red gated. Yeah, so he gets brought to OVH, and he's like, "What do you think you're doing? You can't leave.
what's going on here. I'd like to
What's
know."
going on here? I'd like to know." Yeah. Any thoughts on Hightower here? I mean, it's kind of the same old shit that we've been seeing. It's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
really a
as far as
surprise.
this asshole's or this guy's, fate, like it just seems like a damned if you do, damned if you don't for those who wanted to keep their oath. But in the world of these cutthroats, honorable folks finish last.
Yeah, no, I mean, even if he was completely genuine and everything, like it kind of doesn't matter right now. They're just taking him
but
in.
like you have no proof as of right now to anything. So my only question is sending him to the King's Justice. From what we understand of that, that's Ellen Payne, it's the headsman, but it's also the head of the dungeons. So are you leaving it up to his judgment to what to do with this guy with no real proof apart from just an accusation on, Larry's? I would really hope he'd just go into the dungeons and being held there
I think
just to
he's.
avoid.
Is he not the guy that's hung later? We see.
He is. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're absolutely right. Yep.
Yep.
During the walk. Yeah, thank you. I forgot about that.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's like that's I mean, you have no proof. You have nothing of because he doesn't say anything. He's literally isn't allowed to fucking speak before you have him carted off. It's just I don't know. It makes me less and less an OVH fan. There wasn't much to work with in the beginning, but
They're tying up loose ends because they know they're guilty. You can't have the rightful claim and doing completely right, having to tie up loose ends. Like,
oh,
that's
true.
how I feel. No, I'm not thinking anybody else like feels different. Like, it's
Yeah, no,
that's what they're
absolutely.
doing. They're making sure word can't get out so they can control the entire narrative. And anybody who could come up with any type of information that might look bad on them, off with their heads. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I
they
think
look guilty without. Sorry, go ahead, Luke.
no, you're. I was cutting you off. I apologize. They look guilty. You were
But
saying
well, they look
just by their
guilty.
actions.
Yeah, like people who are innocent do not behave this way.
So I think what I will counterpoint that with is they're just worried that Rhaenyra is going to find out and show up on Dragonback and start killing people. Like, it's a really dangerous thing if she finds out because she has several dragons at her beck and call. So I think it's less. It is also controlling the narrative. It absolutely is, but there's a counterpoint that it's really violently dangerous if Rhaenyra is involved right now.
But
like,
only because Rhaenyra has the rightful claim.
Well, but they all believe Alicent right now.
No, they do not. It is convenient for that council that she came in and said that, but they already had these plans that this is what was happening. It's convenient that kid's what they could say, and she can be like, no, I really did believe it. That's really what was said, and she is honest in it. I just wish Rhaenyra and Alicent could talk to each other before any of these dumb men got involved.
That would have been a better option. Yeah, definitely.
I'm done now.
Yeah, so we get OVH and Club Sandwich hanging out, chit-chatting, enjoying
talking about stuff.
A nice chat. And just talking about stuff, yo. And Von Hightower is kind of, he's like, dude, that was some good information you gave me. That was really convenient. Club Sandwich is like, hey, man, I could give you some cool information more often if you wanted to, man.
Can I see your feet?
Can I see your
those piggies?
I was just going to say, I'd look at your feet, too.
This little piggy went to my face.
Gosh.
And, Von Hightower's really kind of like, hey, you've been hanging out with my daughter, like, a lot. What's that all about? Like, a little weird? No? Thoughts there from Otto's take?
I mean, it is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not in the wrong, because of calling her out. Because if he's not, or calling him out, because if he's not getting the information from the Master of Whisperers or whatever, which he should be, and he feels that he's being subverted or whatever, it's a fair call out on that Larry's, just because it says like, hey, dude, what the fuck? Now that's thing, we've actually never have been told Larry says this official title.
I don't think it's been made yet, right?
Yeah, like
the Master of Whispers. It's not really a thing yet.
Not really a thing yet.
Yeah,
But he
No,
does get
and so
another
he's
name. He gets called something else. I don't know if it was in the after the episode. I didn't go
um
back and look at it, but they called him
oh
something.
yeah.
Um,
Club sandwich.
yeah, it was the Royal Club sandwich is what it was. I don't remember exactly what it was. So if anyone in the chat remembers, feel free to throw it in there. But yeah, I think that's a good point. He's clearly drawing. Otto's clearly drawing a line between the information that he wants Alicent to know because they're clearly kind of both doing different things. They have different goals right now. And if he feels like, this information is being passed through her first, then he's a leg down no matter what happens. And he feels like he needs to be the guy that
Sure.
has all the information, right?
Especially with this cat and mouse thing they got going on with the Cargills v. Aemon Cole.
Amen to Cole. Yeah, certainly. Any other thoughts here or move it along? Move it along then.
Moving along then. The king's body is prepared. Rhaenys meets with Alicent and learns of the usurping. Alicent tries to convince her to join the green side. Aemon Cole find OVH and the brothers Cargill meeting with Mysaria. They learn the prince's whereabouts, but for a price. The brothers find the prince under the candle table, and the hunt ends. Although Aemon Cole intercept the prince.
So we start with Rhaenys here, right? And she's
kind of sour about the whole locking of upping
yeah.
her.
I mean, totally, right? I mean, it's like what the hell is this all
False
about?
imprisonment.
Sure.
Imprisonment.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a very, proud woman who has had a lot of power over the years and like who has the authority to lock me up kind of thing, right? And totally valid. Pretty
Right, because she's probably not gotten an answer yet. About
I think she's
fuck was
probably figured it out, right?
Sure.
It's like, she goes, the king? And like, well, yeah, obviously. Like, that's the only reason people will be locking information up and controlling this narrative. And, Alicent plays hey, I know that Viserys would have been a really great country lord, like, doing his thing. I loved him. He's a good dude. Wasn't really a great king, right? Like, you would have been better, for sure. You were the right choice. Can you come over to my team? Like, because that'd be cool.
Schmooze her a bit.
Right. Yeah. And I think
Up.
she was genuine. I think she was being honest there. I really do think she knows Viserys' weaknesses as well as anybody and saw how it came to where it is now, which I think she believes this would never have come close to happening with Rhaenys having been reigning this whole time. I think Alicent gives Rhaenys kind of a different view of her own thought process and scheming, if you want to use that term. She kind of says, I didn't expect you to have, this kind of game plan going. So like, that's kind of neat. Rhaenys seems to be somewhat considering, which way should I be going right now? Abby?
I just love that Rhaenys listens. She understands, but you can see she's like, God, you are so like straight and narrow. Your thought process is literally just like everything I would imagine it to be. There is nothing here that I'm surprised by. There is no angle that I'm like, oh, haven't thought of that before. And all you are asking of you and me is to put a window into our own prison. That quote right there, I'm like, oh, is there anything better? I don't know. Like, I don't think that Alicent here is being disingenuous. I feel like she's like, look, this is such a great plan. This is such a good thing. And as we would say, she's playing checkers, and Rhaenys is a master chess champion. Like, she's like, yes, I have thought of all of these things before. Imagine that, Alicent. I love her. Rhaenys.
and
Let's put that on the record.
the look that Alicent gives when Rhaenys says, now tell me, you've never pictured yourself sitting on the Iron Throne? And Alicent's like gives a look like, no. And that's how pathetic, at least to Rhaenys, Alicent is.
To her own self, I think.
Yeah,
like, it was never even a question to think about it to be a option.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how
it's
little of herself
pathetic.
she thinks. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it was just that one little line there, like you said, the window to your own jail cell, and then and then Allison's just, demeanor. And it was it was a nice little scene with those two. I liked that.
Yeah, yeah, I like that scene as well.
Yeah. I do think Allison's a little bit desperate though too, because I mean, I think she said something about the dragon. If that dragon goes to the other side, then it's going to be, it's not going to be evened up really.
It'll tip the scales a little for
Sure.
sure. To use a dragon scale pun.
Dragon scale pun, yeah.
Yep, it'll tip the dragon.
Little dragon scale humor.
I
Classic.
also think Allison is really realizing, no matter how this plays out, that she specifically is in grave danger. Like, it all falls onto her. She is kind of going to be the face of this coup. And so she's either going to be taken out or like, this looks bad. Like, I think that's earlier in the war room or whatever you want to call the council. She's like, wait, this has been planned? Like, she's the head of it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to convince Rhaenyra, no, I didn't know.
Right.
And she doesn't have a dragon either.
She's just going to be, she's fucked.
But if she can get in good with Rhaenys here, that'd be a pretty good ally, like who knows all the sides and probably can figure out what's true and what's not, because she can see right through Alicent either way. And so
she sees through Rhaenyra too.
Absolutely, yeah. Rhaenys is she's very intuitive on people's abilities, and it seems like she can tell when people are lying pretty easily too. She's very perceptive.
It reminds me of the Mrs. Incredible. Girls. Leave saving the world to all the men? I don't think so. Like, that's what I hear when I see Rhaenys. Girls. No.
Aemond and Cole over here, the meeting between White Worm and looks like OVH and the Targaryens.
Yeah, so I think he had that, like, I don't know, was it a servant or something at the Fight Club that was, gave them, the raging clue.
Yeah, raging clues.
And
like, hey, the person I'm working with isn't going to talk to some servant of the castle. It needs to be the hand of the king if you want to find out where Aegon's
listen
at.
to some guy or some guy who looks like that guy,
or you guys look like each other
together. No, we need the hand.
We need hand man.
The ham of the king.
Oh, there goes the ham of the king. It's just the pin, but it's just got a pig on it instead. So OVH is here, and he's talking to Mysaria, right? We found out that she is the White Worm. And this is the point where, she kind of makes some deals, right? She's like, I'll tell you where he's at. Like, I fundamentally know.
And dealing, but, she's not going to give up.
Because she kind of gives
that easy.
OVH is starting with like, how can I trust that you have any information that's going to be useful for me? And she's like, oh, I heard the king is dead. Like, she just starts off like, I've got information that I shouldn't. And like, we're talking the same language right now. So I've got Aegon.
I got to see that cash.
Like, let's go ahead and make this deal. And she kind of throws it out there that
show me the briefcase.
The Children Fight Club has to stop. It's killing the young kids. It's dangerous. It's creating an awful situation for everyone involved, except for the people making money off of it. And, clearly the Gold Cloaks have been bought off and bribed to just turn a blind eye to it. And she's like, that has to stop. How can you, either through ignorance or by, just allowing it to happen, how can you allow that to, go on? Like you'd said, Abby had pointed out, under this peaceful king's reign, how is this something that's going on? And I have to change that.
And when she says that about the Gold Cloaks taking bribes, and people have known about it, they cut to Eric, who looks, ashamed of, because he's known about it. He's like, yeah, you're right. I have known about this and haven't said a word or anything, because I don't know if something like that would have gotten back to OVH, possibly, but at the same time, it's something so on the low end. If people are being paid off on the bottom rung, it doesn't climb the ladder. So, but he didn't seem too shocked by it. So
Yeah, he definitely
wouldn't say.
knows that this is going to be the piece of information, this is going to be the deal, right? Either I agree to look into it. I don't know if he knew ahead of time. I think he is probably aware of there's nasty things in the underbelly of town, but if with the specifics, I'm not sure he needs to know. Like you said, it might just stop below him. But yeah, he doesn't really bat much of an eye. He agrees to help, but he doesn't seem all that surprised that it is going on. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he was just letting it go. I mean, if it keeps the peace other ways, which is weird, it's not creating a problem for him. So
yeah,
why would he step in? So we get some more information on where he actually is, right? In the Targaryens.
I was going to say
go ahead, sorry.
about Massaria. It seems like this is another instance where we've seen a couple episodes ago, and like she just was featured for like 30 seconds or something like that. But it just seems like she's a bigger character than they're letting on. Maybe I just don't know if she's just a way to move the story along, or if she actually is a big part. But they're just not giving her like a whole lot of play.
It's almost like the reverse Roz, where like she was the character that kind of became a bigger deal, but we got a lot of time with her. Like this is almost like, oh, Massaria's become.
Who's Roz?
Hey, who the fuck is Roz? Abby, nice. That was brilliant. That was a long time joke for sure. But she became a very important player with Littlefinger's goings on, but we saw her a lot. This is kind of like Massaria has done this on her own, and it's all happening in the background, and now we're just supposed to accept all of this, that she's been a part of this informational game.
Roz was the queen of exposition. If you want to find out some information, give it to Roz. Give it to her non-key character thing, and so you're going to find all this information. And like you're saying, Massaria has all this key information, but we're not given shit.
Just like 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
this is episode 9 we're talking about.
I feel like very much that they are, I mean by they, the people making this show are heavily set on the fact that we are all Game of Thrones enthusiasts, and they are using what they know we're going to perceive, like how we're going to be watching these shows, as a way to show it. So they're using like inference and all these things. They're like, we're going to show her a couple times because she's going to be a callback to this character before, and that will tie into my least or favorite thing later on. But I feel like if you watched this show without watching Game of Thrones before, you'd be far more lost, maybe. Like, who is this? Whatever. But they're really playing on, like, we've set up this realm that people who don't seem trustworthy are, or people who are trustworthy aren't. It's just, it's a weird lens to watch this show through,
and
because they're playing on us.
I think with her specifically, like, I thought a couple episodes she was on the SS abandoned plot lines, but now like seems like has a bigger role
and
than
she's done well for herself, it seems. After
she got off the SS plot lines.
Yeah, she made her way.
Good for her.
Making her way in the world today surely takes a lot. So are we ready to talk about the Targaryen boys finding Mr. Prince Hey John underneath the candle table? That's a lot of fucking candles, right? I mean, that was a lot of damn candles.
A lot of prayers.
A lot of prayers. Every single one of them was lit. I mean, yeah, and they're just kind of walking and talking, and they're clearly showing some dissent between each other. Dude, I hope like after we just saw this children fighting thing and some of these other nasty things that Aegon's been around, like he's not a good dude. Like that's kind of where they're, and the one brother, is basically saying, well, you've known about this and you haven't done anything about it. Well, I was doing my duty, but now it's coming to this. Like, I don't know if I can get behind it. Like, I know too much about him.
He wasn't up his ass all the time. I think like what he said earlier, whenever OVH kind of questioned him, like, why aren't you're supposed to be protecting the king? So, well, he exploits me by sending me away while he sneaks off.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, he's supposed to protect him and stuff, but most of the time, like, he's clever at
And-
like getting away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Eric too, because that's E. E does it a lot, or with it, he lets himself be sent away because he's like, I don't want to fucking see this. If he gets killed or whatever, fine. He probably deserves it. And I think that's genuinely where his brain is almost gone to. It's like if he sneaks off and I can convince him, hey, he snuck off, he ditched me, and he ended up dead in some brothel.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe I could get, the cousin over there or whoever, fucking, somebody else to deal with, because this guy's just a piece of shit.
Well, then how many
so
times he's probably done it so many times where it's just like, now it's like, fuck, I'm not even going to go look for him. Like,
Yeah.
he's just going to come
He'll
back.
he'll turn up in 3 days.
Do whatever he does, and then he'll come back. Hopefully nobody like the hand is going to come to me and be like, hey, where's the prince?
Hey, where's your homeboy? Where's your guy?
So-
Go ahead.
So they find him, and the first thing that kind of stuck out to me that this really made me question is when they pull him out, they said the hand's waiting for you outside the city walls. Why outside the city walls? So I know the reigning theory or the reigning assumption in the show was he wanted to get a hold of Aegon so he can convince him to kill Rhaeny or
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. Let the
And
Death Order
Daemon,
go
too?
and kill them all. And Alicent is the opposite, wants to show them mercy and give them the chance. That's the whole thing that they're building up. I honestly think he was trying to get him out to the city wall to kill him off because he knew that Aemond would be the easier one to rule with. Maybe not the easier one to control, but the easier one to rule with to get to his side. I genuinely think they were going to make him disappear if he was found. Like, I see that from Otto, because he sees what his grandson is and is doing. And I think he would have rather had the second option there. So it's my complete speculative. But when they said, your grandfather wants to see you outside the city walls, it's like, that doesn't make sense. Why that far? Until I thought about it on that.
I don't know. I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see that, or like maybe he just wants a random site where nobody's gonna come
Just
looking.
keep
Yeah.
it out of the.
I just want-
Almost so Alicent doesn't know that he has him too, right? I mean, as soon as you bring him back to the keep or something, it's kind of whoever can convince Aegon to follow him, and he even asked for "I want my mother," right? Like he's like, "I want to go to my mom," and so if Otto doesn't even let Aegon have the opportunity to talk to his mom before he gets all the information and convinces him to do the things that he needs to keep distance between Alicent and Aegon right now. That's how I take it. I mean that's at least the easier thing. That's what the show is more easily saying that's the easier option. But offering him, I don't know. I don't know if Otto would do that because he's been working so long to get specifically Aegon on the throne. But I agree. I get the Aemond thing as well. But I don't know.
We'll never know.
We'll maybe I don't know. Finale is like live now,
No.
but
About 8 minutes from ending.
yeah, absolutely. So they get him. They kind of wrestle. He's not having it right. They get outside. Oh, and look who also has been, finding them. Aemond and Cole are like, hey, we'll take that. Hey, man, let's go ahead and hand him over, right?
Can I have it?
Hey, can I have it? No, I think I'll keep it. But they aren't fans of giving up their prize, right? And the Targaryens, and they decide to fight over it. Well, one does, one doesn't.
Yeah, the brothers Cargill get divided here.
They are clearly on different ships right
I
now.
think it goes back to when they were kind of almost arguing about, well, I don't really like this guy. Fucking sucks. Like, why are we looking for this guy for him to be king? Like, fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one's like, well, we have to do our thing.
It's E that doesn't like him, right?
Because I think he knows him.
E stands back. A is the one that fights Cole.
Right. Okay. All right. Just clarifying for everyone.
Yep.
So they fight, and Aegon makes a run for it, right? And Aemond catches up, no problem, tackles him, and he's like, you know what? Aegon, kind of is telling him, like, I will get on a ship and get out of here. I would not be good at this. And Aemon's like, no arguments from me. No problem
And
there.
that goes to my point on my last point here, really quick. Why not, them just hash it out really quick and be like, dude, go. I'll take care. Abdicate. Nothing says you can't. Nothing says you can't say, you know what? I don't want it. She's my queen. You can say,
He has to be coordinated first. If you'd like to know that, we can go into
That's
it
fair.
now
No, he
and how all
doesn't.
that
He
happened.
can
No,
abdicate without being crowned. 100%. Absolutely.
Prince Edward. Prince Edward.
Oh, there's a ton
crowned.
of examples in Game of Thrones
Yeah,
as well.
but
Lots.
I'm also
in future from here technically, but
yeah,
it happens.
but
But he will
they
be
can.
king, and he can do it after this. He can. He will be king. And what Otto wants, and what fucking what's her name, Allison wants, I'm out. And then that stands. So if he
Yeah.
doesn't want this, like, you almost feel bad for him here. He's like,
I kind of
"Please,
do.
this is not."
He's
I
pathetic,
don't,
but I
because he's
do
a
have
fucking
sympathy for him.
raper and likes watching children beat each other to the death. Like,
There are those things too.
I make myself not feel sorry for him, but you can see that he's like, I don't want this,
Hmm.
and there's this forced whatever. Like, it's just a bad situation. It can't be good. That's for sure.
Right. Hey, I'm forcing you to do this. I mean, it's almost like king slavery, right? It's like in some form. They're not giving him an option, and that kind of sucks for him. But like Abby said, he's really not a good dude. Like, he's kind of the worst. He's kind of a piece of shit.
I think it's been building up for a few episodes.
Yeah, he's been a piece of shit for a long time.
Right.
Is what we're
Since
really knowing.
Pretty much his introduction. Literally, we're introduced to him jacking off out the window. That's kind of the whole tone set right there of what this guy's gonna be.
Jizzing on someone's
fucking
eye or
jack off.
something.
Right. Yep. Pretty much. But Cole ends up winning this fight, right, by disarming we'll call him Rick. He disarms him, ends up taking his sword and taking Aemond and Aegon back.
Rick. He goes.
He's like,
he goes to the situation.
I'm out of here, boys. Good luck down there. Like, that's for your brother to do that. Like, that's gonna be an irreparable moment between those two, right? Like, hey, we just did all this, and like, I know we had our disagreement, but you didn't back me up on what was legitimately a life or death fight. Like, it really could have been one of us gets killed, and you specifically did not back me up, even to protect
Back
me.
me up, then do your own thing. Like,
right. It's one thing if we disagree on the reason we're fighting, Cole right now, but you didn't do anything to even protect me for being me. And that's not an easy thing to overcome, for his twin brother to specifically abandon him right here. That's rough. I think he'll remember that, is what I'm getting to. But yeah, Cole, Aemond get the prize, take Aegon back on up to the castle. Next scene.
sure. Alicent, with possession of the prince, tells OVH her game plan. Alicent returns to her quarters to find Club Sandwich with a piece of information, a web of spies. For his efforts, Club is rewarded the sight of Alicent's bare feet as he plays a game of 5-on-1.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I'll start with the OVH part there. It's really just the end. It's a solid plan from Alicent that she puts forward and everything. And she's like, I have him. Here's what's going to happen. And that's just it. Suck it up. I learned from you. This is how we're doing it. And OVH's only response is, you look so much like your mother in certain lights.
Oh my
How
god.
fucking condescending. And I'm jumping on it before you could, because that one hurt my ovaries. Goddamn, you're muted.
She's muted.
She's muted. That would have hurt Benji's over.
That one hurt my.
That was amazing. I had like this touch I don't really know. It went away. Thank you. I was going to say, take it away, Aaron, because keep going. Keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, dude, you got fucking beat. You did, and all you can do, you can't even tell her, you know what, good job, well played. All right, we'll try your way. You look so much like your mother. Oh, fuck off. It's like, you asshole. Yeah,
Well,
and she was even just like that look, like, you have no idea what I've been through to get this information, to do what I've done. And now
And
we
you
find out.
respect me nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I have been nothing to you except for
piece on the
a
game
pawn
board.
in your game.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you're pretty. You're so pretty.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I think he says something too, like you were Rhaenyra's love thing or something like that, or
He does mention that, like, he's like, you're Rhaenyra's, childhood friend, or like something along those lines.
right.
And yeah, so it was the start of that, and that was like her kind of like, yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, what's right. And like does come up with a good line of murder. Oh fuck, I wish I could quote it. It was a good line, but it was like, murder should not be chosen upon easily, or deciding not to murder is not a sign of weakness, or it was something along those lines. But it was
Mhm.
actually a really well delivered and said line, and I just
Benji, I
can't think
have
of it.
0 notes because you have them all. Like, yeah.
I didn't get that.
Oh,
Could you try again?
no, I'm not talking to you.
Alexa wants chime in.
That is
Fuck off,
Siri.
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 That is like the best. She does the whole thing with like but you look so much like your mother, and then it's not a weakness to be hesitant towards murder. Like, that is,
That's the line.
I think it's like, there's a, like, being hesitant to murder is not weak. I don't know exactly, but
Yeah, but no, that's your.
god damn, Allison, like, thank you for taking this turn, because I've been trying to like you because I like your actress, and
Oh, because she's
I
so
think
pretty? Is that what it is? You like her because?
no, I know that's not why.
I know.
No, it's not.
I know.
But right here, I think she's finally, hopefully, we'll see. She has the workings of being like, wow, I will no longer be a pawn, because this whole time I've just watched her as like, how do you not realize what's going on? Like, you are so ineffective, and I think she's about to be maybe effective, good or bad, and I'm excited to see her.
I really do think she has been blissfully ignorant of a
That-
lot of the true nature of her father that we've been seeing. And there have been a lot of
Yeah.
times where it looks like, oh, well, she clearly has to know what's going on, right? Like, it's almost like so heavy-handed, like, no one's this dumb, right? And I don't think she's actually dumb, but she wants to believe in her dad, right? I mean, she wants to believe that they're working together, but it's not really that, right? She finds out more information, and the game has now changed, and she's deciding that, hey, I'm going to be playing this game now, and I'm calling the fucking shots.
It seemed like a lot of these people, like, because the king was alive, and that we don't want to diss the king. We don't want to, ruffle any of his
Oh,
feathers.
King got served.
Right. So that, now that he's been axed or gone, now it's like our time to play,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no holds barred.
And also, she's always sided on the side of the righteous. She is the Maud Flanders and Helen Lovejoy of Game of Thrones. Of somebody think about the children.
Oakley
Oakley dokley.
The righteous indignation of everything.
Education.
Where
education.
the education, yes. Where she's just like, she couldn't imagine her father plotting behind the king's back. She couldn't imagine, because that's not right. That's not proper. That's not, and it's she's always had that holier than thou mentality that's never given her the eyes to actually see what game is actually being played. She just always thought Aegon is the firstborn son. He should be the king, because that's just the way the gods intended it. That's the way they've always done it. I know the king said Rhaenyra, but Aegon should be the king, but now she's seeing the actual shit going on. Her first instinct was with Harwin, Larry's brother, the Strongs. That was her first instance. It get a glimpse into it, but she's shied away from it again until now, to where she's like, okay, now maybe we have to play into the game a bit.
It's a
you
bit
know, and
Ned
she-
Stark, right? Ned Stark is Hand of the King,
Yeah.
where it's very much she's been kind of ignorant due to righteousness here, right? Like the technically correct thing, where he was ignorant due to being blinded by his own justness, right? You know, doing the
Kablam!
right
Elimination.
lack of education.
Read education.
God.
Yeah.
Kablam!
So yeah, it's just very similar through a different lens of Ned, but she seems to be getting the opportunity to learn from it and adjust, where Ned just doubled down, and it didn't really work out for him, right?
I feel
Well,
like Ned
and the
was
problem
his pride because this is what you do. This is how you behave because that is
It's
how an
honor.
honorable
Yeah, it's honor.
man
Yeah.
yeah,
works.
Le-
Whereas Allison is more ignorant. Like there's an ignorance where there was a choice of being, well, I'm not gonna do that because that is not the type of man I am. I feel like it's very, very similar, but I think that's why I was annoyed with Ned. Don't let me lie. I was highly annoyed with him. But
well, up until the point, like here's the thing with Ned, like because it was well played, you didn't see, if you didn't read the book, even when you read the books or anything, it was you didn't see it coming. You're like, he's in the right, he's gonna get out of it. You know, the good guy's gonna win, and then he doesn't. Now looking back at it, it's like, okay, now I can be annoyed with him because, okay, now we see how
when
this
he
world's
was
set up.
down in the cellar with Varys, I was like, "You're a fucking moron. Like you lie for your daughters. You
I
get
agree,
over
but
it. Like you."
and I agree, but I'm saying as a, you know, just as a normal, before knowing anything about the series or the show, you were
You're
thinking
fucking weird,
like
Abby.
he's gonna get out of it. He's gonna be okay. With Allison, what I was gonna say, but the difference between Ned and Allison, the big difference is Ned had no personal stock in the succession. He had nothing to gain from doing the right thing. Allison, her family has the right thing to gain. So that's why she's more willing to maybe make the shift away from the honorable or, you know, everything like that to help perpetuate that over what Ned was doing. Ned was never willing to make that, you know, adjustment because his family had, and it's not even a gain, but his family, you know, was not technically in, you know, the lineage was not technically in danger. Yeah, Sansa might have been, but you know, he was figuring that it could be, and that's why he did end up
She's
taking
just
the
a
blame
girl.
was for
It's
her.
fine.
Well, no, but he did end up taking the blame. He did end up
I know
admitting
he
to
did.
it, or you know, so to defend her. But beyond that, he didn't play the game because he had nothing to gain from playing the game. Allison needs to play the game to enhance her family.
I just think he's just not a politician, Ned Stark. Like he doesn't
Neither's
play the
Allison.
game because he doesn't really like. But Allison does play the game. You know, but
Yeah.
Either way, let's talk about feet.
want to talk about
Let's talk about some feet, right? So, Allison makes her way back up to her room, her chambers, and old Clubby Footy is there waiting for her. And he's like, she goes, "Man, it's pretty late, homeboy. Like, what you doing here?" And he's like, "I've got information for you."
God.
Just-
Not tonight.
One of the
I have a
weirdest-
headache. I'm fucking
I have
tired.
a headache.
It's been a day.
I've got a bunion.
Like it doesn't matter. Like, seriously, right now.
Hey there,
Shut up.
honey
I'm not gonna
bunnies.
It puts in perspective
So
like
I'm not
all
gonna
those.
lie, really quick. When she first took off her shoes and hiked up her skirt, I think the socks were a little. She's a pasty girl in the first place, so her white socks had this little sigil on them. I'm like, does she literally have a leg tattoo that they forgot
I
to
thought
cover
she
up?
had a tattoo.
I did
I thought
too.
so too.
I didn't notice.
Like it's just a little sigil or something on the sock. I think it's the tower. I think it's
Googled
the
it.
high tower. Is it the high tower on the sock?
No. I mean, I just Googled, does
Olivia Cook have
There we
a
go.
tattoo?
have a
Yeah.
tattoo? Like,
Yeah, because she
no,
puts her feet up and
Olivia
like
Cook's
because her
legs. Don't look at my
Yeah.
search bar, okay?
it looked like it was a
leave it alone.
it looked like a tattoo. And I'm like,
Search for that
did
too,
they
but
just
for
coffee?
different.
Yikes!
Did they just coffee cup this and just say, "Fuck it"? Allison's got a tattoo of something on her
You
leg.
got to show
but then
your
it-
feet. Like, what do we do here?
Yeah,
So-
then she peels off the sock and it's like, okay.
Before that, I really just took it when she sits down and like kind of, I was like Gabby was saying, like I've got a headache, I'm fucking tired, like I'm gonna take my shoes off. I just thought it was like really just like a comfort moment, like hey, I'm just gonna get
My
comfortable
husband
for
died
this.
last night.
Right, I'm gonna wind down a little bit, and then it like gets further and further. Like
Yeah.
oh no, like this
Oh.
is specifically a
Well, it's
foot
funny
fetish
because she
thing.
has
a footish
the
thing, if you will.
stockings or whatever, and like he starts telling the information, and then like so she's like, "Oh, well, tell me more."
And he's like,
well,
"You must pay the foot toll.
show me more.
Show me more.
She has
show
to
me
take
more."
fucking-
You need to
That
cross the
should be
footbridge.
the name of the foot toll.
The
That's
foot
gonna
toll
be
is
the-
toll, name of the episode.
we'll
I'll
put-
add it to the list.
You got it. Okay,
Gotta pay
Okay.
the foot toll.
gotta pay the foot toll.
I think like so. When is the breaking point though for Allison when she decides, okay, like I don't need any more information from you. I'm done showing my feet while you rub one out. Like this is getting out of hand. Like,
And
Well,
there
right
was
now
a
it was getting in
time-
hand.
for you, it's getting in hand.
It was getting
For
in
everybody
hand.
else, for me, it's out of hand.
There was a time like I've watched this episode of I don't know I watched when it came on Sunday I guess, and then today while I was driving home.
I did the same
really-
thing. I did the
I
same
really
thing.
listened. It was on my dash. I was very safe, sure, and I'm like, but is she like also because it's very like ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
There we go. Like, because you also see her like turn to the side. Like, I can't tell if that is a look of like, oh my god, get this over with, or oh my god, like relief. I'm enjoying myself too. Like, what the fuck is she doing?
That's- I actually had like because I saw Glenn's note of something. I'm done showing you my feet while you Joe. Sorry, Glenn. I thought you just said that, and I apologize for
Well, I
stealing
did.
it.
He did.
I
He did.
changed it to rub one out instead of Joe.
Oh,
Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Okay, I apologize because I blanked for a second. But I was like, I was
You
going
give
to
me
put a note
this
of I think
I am.
it
I am
started
saying
off-
this.
her enjoying it almost, or like
I don't-
like not tonight, not tonight. Like I'm saying in the general thing, she's like, oh, this is all I gotta do. I don't have to lay there and get fucking assaulted, and you just want to do your thing. Okay, here you go.
Yeah, because he doesn't
you know,
expose
kinda
him,
like-
so he just hand in the pocket or
Yeah,
whatever.
he
This
goes
is-
in his little wand pocket of the kilt.
I've got
that,
something in my front pocket for you.
This is bad, right? Like, you don't
you
have
reach
to
out
be
inside. It's
a
there what
porn
it
star.
is.
You have to show nothing, but I can just take pictures of my feet
How
and
do you
make
do?
money.
Yeah,
Fine. Like, I feel like that is some modern
That's-
day like
yeah, that's
version
exactly
of
what.
Finder. Like,
Yeah,
fine. I don't have
Foot
to
Finder?
show it all.
I don't have to
really know
look
if
at
that's a
you. Like
thing,
she can
but,
turn
like,
to the side, put my feet up. I just have to sit here, and
I-
you're gonna give me what I
what
want.
is it
You
called?
know,
I didn't know what OnlyFans was for a long time. So it was like, oh, you can check out my OnlyFans. I was like, what
Mm.
is that?
Yeah.
Question
Yeah.
mark. And they're like,
We got only foots.
and I was like, oh. I was like, I'm sorry, I asked that. I didn't know. Like, I will educate myself from here on out. But yeah, like it's that same idea, right? Like, show you my toes.
This
Go
is a
for
really
it,
good
man.
question from the chat. Jake Cruz goes, "How did that come up the first time? Like, how does Clubfoot get
Yeah,
the
he
balls
said he
to be
wanted
like,
to-
hey,
To have
Can I-
it's
I have-
very subtle. It's
When I need a-
can just picture it. Go ahead, Glenn.
he said something like, when the time's right, like I'll be looking for a payment or whatever.
yeah, that's
But,
right.
Yeah, like you're saying,
Yeah.
Ben, like
And honestly, I don't think it even like came up where he's like, "Hey, by the way, let me see your tootsies." I bet it was very subtle at first. It was very much a your feet look, those shoes look very comfortable today for you. Like very slight, minor things like those look very comfortable today. Oh, you should take your shoes off, relax a little bit, kick your feet up, and then it just slowly builds to where it's like he finally just comes on and says, "Yeah, no, I like your feet," and it's like, but by this point she's already in deep, and he owns her because of the strong shit. He owns her
God
for
damn it,
the
I
other
had to
shit.
unmute to get there.
Oh, sorry, Hal.
Some 41
it was
reference.
weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm in.
Oh.
I was trying to do it,
Yeah.
and he already did it.
I would say like it seems like it's like you need another guy for your bowling team or your softball team, and like, well, I can ask Randy, the guy I work with or whatever, or my neighbor Randy, and then he comes and like he's okay, and then it seems like he's fitting in, and then like all of a sudden he's just like, "Can I see your feet real quick?"
That's how that goes.
And it's like, "Oh, well, I guess we can't invite Randy anymore.
Well, for a bowling league, I mean,
I-
you're gonna have a good chance to see people's feet, I guess. If,
Yeah.
you know,
I will not name the name, but there was a guy in my high school class, and once Facebook, became a thing 5 years after graduation, I was friends with him. He became friends with my wife. Then all of a sudden, my wife started getting, message from him, like, "Hey, I remember you, this and that." She's like, "I kind of remember you a little bit because I hung out with him maybe twice when we were together." And he's like, "Yeah, could I see your socks?" It's like, okay, then, it's like sometimes the upfront, hey, you throw
Hey.
1,000 darts, you might hit one. So
Launching my feet online. It is very subtle like that. Oh my gosh, you have really high arches. I'm like, cover them dogs. I sure do. Get the fuck out of here. Goodbye.
oh man.
oh, here we go. All right, added to the list.
Yep, good. We'll throw that on the list there, Mike. That's a good one. So we like Glenn said, a little 5-on-1 happens, and we
Little 5-on-1.
cut away. Any thought on
He was breathing heavily.
Well,
the foot-ish?
information does he actually give? Because I am
About
so
the
thrown
white
off.
worm.
The web-
about
the web of
the web
spies.
of spies.
But
That
how
even
does
your
she not
handmaid-
know that? I don't get how she doesn't realize that
Ignorance.
she
like
is the. That's my problem with her this whole time.
yeah.
Like, how can you be so dumb? I'm gonna get YouTube turned off over here. Excuse me while I mute.
So yeah, with that, but then it goes on. Yeah, we get that, and all of a sudden, basically, the paying the toll of, she's like, "Is that something you can do?" And he's like, "I could." And that's when she makes the turn. She, turns to basically pay the toll to have that done. That's her.
Like her feet are
acceptance of-
right there, but she's looking away while he, does his
Yeah,
does
But
does
is
his
she
thing.
Exactly.
just looking away? Is she? I'm not.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
kind of.
I I don't know.
Where's she looking then, Ab?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yes, she looks away, but is she also enjoying
looking away in
herself this-
disgust. That's the thing. Is she looking away in
No, it's
disgust
just
or in?
disgust, no.
That's
Yeah,
that's what I'm. Yeah,
like is her hands also up her dress? Is what I'm wondering.
that I doubt.
Don't.
That
Really?
I doubt.
There is
Because
a I don't know.
she's so high and righteous in that aspect.
She is letting some dude. This is not the first time. I felt like
I
this was
know.
absolutely like them both being like, "Hey, my life sucks. You do this."
I don't think
and I-
she's doing anything. I
Yeah.
don't think she's
I
doing.
I didn't
I'm not
take
gonna
that
say
as-
she's not.
That's
I'm
why
not gonna say she's
asking,
not
'cause
appreciating it.
I don't know. I think it's either she's also partaking on her own, looking away from him. Like, I'm not going to look at you while you do this, but I'm also going to take this time that it takes to enjoy myself. Or if she's just sitting there. Ugh.
I think this is the same thing as her sitting there when Viserys calls her in to
Just
have
to-
sex with her. She's like,
Yeah.
"This is my lot.
Yeah.
I'm stuck
Yeah.
doing this. This
Yeah.
is just something I have to
Nothing I can
put
do
up
right
with.
now.
I need the
also feel like
information.
it's-
I can't shut this information highway down. So this is the nature of what I have to do." And that's
And I'll put it this: of any character in any of these series, Game of Thrones or Hot D, she'd be the last I'd ever expect to actually do that to herself, because that's not proper. That's not right. And like, she's the one that will, even if she wants to, doesn't, in the sense of, it's just because that's not what you do. Like, I would genuinely believe that. And I have met people like that. So it's, not out of the realm of, I think she would be the one character that, honestly, that would shock me if that's what was happening, because she's like, I don't think she's actually ever
See,
done that.
Yeah,
on
I
her
just
own.
haven't met those actual like good naive girls. So all the people I know are fucking sluts.
Yeah.
So
Like I see, like she's just
our
like
friends, I love you, but it's true. Like
she's not gonna do the wrong thing like that, but she's okay. Like other people do, like especially when her kid, like she was like against Rhaenyra and Daemon hooking up the one episode, but then like okay, now her son and daughter are married. So I mean, seems like she lets things slide.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think so. Final thoughts? All right. Every episode we have one of these, and this happens to be this episode's final scene. Cheers, everyone.
Yes, it is the final scene, and the final scene has Sir Eric attempts to break Rhaenys out of the castle. They walk past a burning building and through the streets as the masses flood them. Alicent and Aegon ride to his coronation. The masses enter the dragon pit as OVH announces the king's death. Aegon enters and is crowned the second of his name, just as Rhaenys sneaks off. The masses cheer for their new king. Rhaenys re-enters the room on Dragonback, stares at the new king, and then gets out of Dodge.
So we find out where our good buddy Eric, went to. You know, he took some time off. He was kind of probably mulling things over and deciding what he needed to do to get away from the goings on. He doesn't seem to agree with the Aegon stuff at all. So he's looking around, what options do I have? And he goes to Rhaenys, right? I mean, that's a pretty smart move. I mean, I think he's kind of got the idea of, well, she's still kind of locked up in her room, so clearly she's not necessarily playing ball. So that's a pretty good person to get, out of here and go over to Rhaenyra with. I think it's a pretty smart move on his behalf.
Because he needs somebody too to vouch for him, saying, "Yeah, I'm fucking off from that group. You know, this is bullshit. Who's to say it's not a spy?" But if Rhaenys is like, "Hey, he got me out," and can vouch for him, it makes it for a safer transition.
She is a good friend to have for a lot of people.
Yes.
She is like the biggest get right now, right? She is certainly a power piece on the table.
And I think something like
She is North Africa. If you're playing Risk, you want North Africa. It's a great access to several areas.
I feel like she's also like that glue. If you watch Survivor, like she doesn't actually win. She's not the one with the $1 million at the end, but she absolutely is within like the final 3.
4 or 5. Yeah, but
I mean,
I'd say
like,
4. Yeah, usually that, like, she'd be the one that kind of gets
she's
fucked
the
off right before the
swing.
finale.
She's
Yeah.
the swing. Like, yep.
Glenn, do you have any
Oh
thoughts
no,
on
I
Survivor?
really don't.
on Survivor. Yeah, so some of the people survive on the show, and some of them don't.
Yeah, just kill them all.
Kill them all.
Go
So,
take.
I
Hold
wanted
on.
to point some-
Glenn had a thought. Glenn had a thought that we all cut him off on multiple times.
I'm trying to think of my thought. But yeah. So
Sorry.
earlier, Rhaenys, when she was talking to Alicent almost gave her like I'm gonna leave you here. You know, let me know your answer when you're ready, or whatever
Right,
she
yeah.
says. You know, but
Go ahead and starve.
but I think that was just my point. Is I think we didn't really talk about it, but
Sure.
in that moment. But she's still mulling over her thoughts or whatever. But like Sir Eric gives her an out of not being a prisoner, I guess.
Yeah. So they book it, right? Ben, should you have a?
So I wanted to say something to Glenn's earlier point of the fire that we see in the montage scene of we're getting people contemplating and thinking about and everything, and a fire breaks out in a house somewhere in King's Landing. Some cloaked figures walking away. Is that them trying to tell us that Mysaria is now dead? You know, kill the White Worm, taken out.
I wouldn't say
know,
so.
Luckily, there was
Well,
a
I
30
wouldn't say-
second glimpse of us last episode of them showing that, then her for a couple seconds. So
Yeah, I mean that
we
exact
are
house.
led.
You know, led to believe that
She at
her.
least is making an insurance claim.
Yeah,
But like
Right.
we don't see her specifically die. Is my thing. It's like,
true.
I mean, we barely see her at all, but like we don't see her perish.
Yeah, no, and agreed. And so it's just like, would they do a character this way in the show without? They built her up slightly over the last 2 episodes, and then all of a sudden, they found out about this information from Clubfoot, and now is she just dead? Is it just kind of a non sequitur? I hope not, but I could honestly see the show just being like, oh yeah, no, she was killed. In
Oh,
the
by
fire.
the way, like
Just SS abandoned plot lines. We don't want to continue on with her. It's just she served her purpose. Now we're done. You know.
Yeah, it could be. I don't really know. I thought that was interesting too, just in general. Like, oh wow, things are kind of getting out of hand. I don't know if I just didn't realize that was definitely that same building, like that she was in or whatever, that she was kind of
Yeah.
holed up in. But yeah, I mean, we definitely see it's arson. That's clear, you know.
Which is also Club Sandwich's MO.
Right.
You know?
No, that's definitely a skill set
Unless
that
they
he
framed
he
him, maybe
has.
they turn their
Oh.
their burners on or something.
And they think he's
the
Roger
stove.
Rabbit. Yep, that happens. Absolutely. So they do end up walking, and the streets start filling up with a lot of people. Right? It seems like this mob is
The
being
masses.
directed all
It's-
together. Right?
There's a bit of an on the nose shot in this scene too, where Rhaenys kind of looks around and sees sheep being herded. You know, like they go, "Rah," and she just kind of walks back. I'm like, foreshadowing. You know, just the herds of sheep of the sheeple being led to wherever to the slaughter.
And she wants her
I've-
dragon. That's what she says to
Yeah.
Erac.
Right.
Like, I need my dragon. He's like, well, there's no time for that. You know,
Like, oh, dude, that's like specifically where everyone's gonna be. Like, that's not a safe.
it's not a good idea.
Safe move. And like, but let's go get on a boat and just get out of here quietly. We can come back and get your dragon later, kind of thing. Like let's get you out of here first. Dragon another time, which I think is fair from his perspective. You know, that is, I think he understands that there's a lot of people going to the dragon pit right now. Pretty dangerous, pretty tough to get in for her. You know, people are gonna know her, and yeah, let's just go down to the boats where literally everyone's going away from right now, and take our chances there. I think it's fair. Like Benji said, it's pretty on the nose with where we're herding the sheeple down, and some of these scenes really felt familiar with the dragon over King's Landing with Dany, and the fires breaking out towards the very end of season 8 for Game of Thrones. You know, where we see Arya walking around the town and it's on fire. You know, all those scenes. It felt a little bit similar in those points, but I mean, I don't think there's really any connection other than, hey, similar sets, I guess. But
And I guess the similar sets thing, I got more of a feel from the walk.
sure, totally, yeah.
Or, I mean, same thing, but yeah, it's like people all crowded in the streets and all that.
Yeah. So they're all getting forced up to the dragon pit, right?
Up to Baelor, Sept to Balin, Baelor Sept, or the Great Sept right now, because Baelor isn't a thing yet.
That's the dragon
So
pit.
No, they're in the Sept. This is not the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Because the dragon comes from
It's
underneath.
the dome. The dome is the dragon pit.
It's under.
The whole thing
that's
is called
where
the
the-
dragon pit. The whole thing is the
But
dragon pit.
isn't that okay? Sorry,
They
I
are
just
not
called
at the
wanted to
something else.
sept.
clarify.
They are not at the sept.
This isn't the thing that they
Okay.
blow up with Marjorie inside, and she's like, "We need to leave."
No.
This is
That was
not
the
that
Sept
place.
Baelor.
This is not that.
Okay,
That
sorry,
doesn't exist.
I-
That doesn't exist yet.
I thought it was
I-
that.
As did I. So okay, so this is
the dragon pit. This is where we
So, like,
saw
technically, the
the
dragons
the
are
kids with
underneath.
their learning how to. Where we saw early the kids
upstairs.
Oh,
working
Okay.
with speaking their
Okay,
Valyrian
okay.
with the
I
dragons.
guess the
Yeah.
upstairs is
I
like a
don't
big
know why
conference
I
room
also
or
thought
something.
Right.
that,
Well, it's the
Benji,
big.
but
It's the
I
big dirt. It's the
very
big
much
board
also
where
thought
they
the
were
same thing.
working with the dragons. It's all in that dome,
I
and then they
think
take
it-
them down below where the dragons are kind of
I-
stored.
think
Okay,
also this
fair.
has a
Yeah,
lot
no,
to do
you're
with
absolutely
we
right
watched
then.
this and then we see like impending doom. This dragon's gonna come up and burn them all inside this like enclosed space or whatever, and immediately there's like associations going off. But
So-
I really truly thought it was that.
This is
other
also
place.
the place that we do end up seeing in Game of Thrones, where the roof
That's-
has been broken all out.
And like
Yeah.
everybody's there.
That's where
Well, this is where
Everyone's
they
the
bring
there.
the White
This is-
Walker
yeah, this is
to
the big council.
show
of,
Cersei or whatever.
and the
Absolutely.
Danny brings the dragons in for the first time.
Yes.
Yes, that's this building with the
Wow,
roof
okay,
still
that's
on.
It
super
With
seemed,
the roof
it
still
exciting.
seemed a
on.
lot smaller in that one than it does here, where the
Wait, the
masses
roof's
kind of
still
flood.
on.
No, the roof
Because-
wasn't on. And no.
Wait,
In Game of Thrones,
When
I'm
Dan-
saying this is that
Here.
building with the roof still on.
right, because they're just
And the
sitting
wall's still up.
outside.
It's not a
Yeah, it's
retractable
basically
roof.
just
Not yet. They're gonna
Not
put that
yet.
in later.
Okay.
it's no Astrodome.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Minute
anyway,
Maid
that's
Park.
the building that we're in.
Sorry.
And
Okay,
that's
cool. I
Gotcha.
didn't.
Okay,
Cool.
fair enough. Fair enough. That makes more
we
sense.
see
to me,
we
too.
see everyone being herded up there. We start hearing OVH start announcing the king is dead. It's a sad day for the realm. It's also a happy day because we get to crown my little boy, my homeboy Aegon, and yeah, they try to get the slow
Aegon.
they try to
Unless
get
you're
the
Ben
slow
Higgins.
clap going,
Wah.
and they do this whole procession with the gold cloaks, right? With kind of like the presenting of arms, and that was, I don't know, kind of cool. And I
Oh,
think
Yeah.
throughout the
So-
whole
Super
thing,
cool.
Aegon is still. Oh, we skipped over the carriage ride there a little bit. I don't know if we want to talk about him talking
I
to
don't
his
have
Do
a
mom.
opinion
you
on it.
love me?
Do you
It's
love
the
me?
big-
Do you love
You
me?
imbecile!
Imbecile.
Like,
Yeah.
he's just an
Play
idiot.
those
But I
love
think
games
he
with me.
now is starting to believe it. It's not just some kind of coup. I think he believes
Well,
that his
it was the
mom.
knife. It was the
Right,
dagger.
right. That's what I'm saying.
that
Yeah,
sealed it.
absolutely. It's he never thought that his dad gave a shit about him at all. Like, specifically
Yeah.
didn't believe in him, but it was the knife that turns the tide for him a little bit, saying,
You think so? I didn't catch up. That's okay.
well,
Oh, yeah.
because she's selling the story of what she heard.
Yeah.
And she's being
Yeah,
honest. And I think
absolutely.
presenting that knife to be like, no, he definitely is picking you. Like, that happened. Like, he
Yeah.
told me to give you this for a very specific reason. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really happen until he's walking up that I think he finally.
See, for me,
I don't even think it's not even that. I think Glenn has the right point
Well,
there.
I'm saying
But
it's dawning on him over there. He's
Gotcha.
against it, but
do-
it's starting to work on him a little.
And Glenn, one quick
Maybe a
note
little-
before you get to
yeah,
your.
go for it. Go.
Sorry, just during the walk, it was funny. The swords were coming down, and there was like the third one came down kind of quick, like comparatively, where it was like right on his back, and Aegon actually turns and looks like at the guard, like, seriously, fucker. Like, I don't know if it was like intentional, like in the script, or how it was written to be, choreographed, but it was very close swipe, and the actor just kind of was like, dude, that was kind of close, like gave that look in character, and they just rolled with it, and it made sense. Like, in my brain, that's just the way I read it. It was like, that was a little quick, dude. That was like right on my back, kind of thing. So I just thought it was a funny little moment. Don't know if it was just a production thing, production accident, or it was actually in the script for him to look that way, but it just worked.
Yeah, for
Anyway.
me, I think the tide turned whenever, he gets named king, and then the masses start cheering his name, and then he
Absolutely.
lifts the sword up, and he's like, gets even more cheers and all that. Like,
I
think-
completely agree with that. Certainly.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe like you were just saying, like maybe he saw the sword, maybe he's walking up and starting to get a little bit more psyched up or whatever. But yeah, definitely when the masses cheer his name, I think he gets kind of perked up there.
Yeah, I completely agree that that's the true moment when he's like, maybe
Hey,
I
this
could be
ain't
cool.
so
This is
bad,
kind of cool. Like, this could be all right if this is all it is.
Oh, and want to give one a shout out. We didn't really talk on the montage scene all that much, but going back earlier in this section, really quick, shout out to Aegon, the true drinker, knows if you gotta get over shit, fucking down some bread, get those carbs in you, get that shit soaked up. Because the one shot of him is him just literally eating bread, and it's like, yep, he's a drunk that's fucking full alcohol. Let's sop that shit up. So from my drink to yours, there we go. Just wanted to call that. I thought it was funny.
So while this is all
No.
going on here, and Abby, you are muted. Yep, I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
Thank you. Okay, so very quickly, I really loved. So as Benji was talking about, like the swords coming down, blah blah blah. You have a perfect line. It's just a really like artistic. I loved the way it looked as he's walking up the straight line. You kind of realize like how long this sword arch is going.
Mhm.
But the swords match identically to the whatever angle of this triangle above that's a window.
Mm.
It's all these swords, and then there's a gigantic triangular window above, and the angles are just like.
Gotcha.
And, I mean, I think everything they do is probably pretty intentional, but it did make a spectacular look. I think it
Yeah,
really elevated like
visual.
just how long that sword salute was. Like that's pretty crazy. Anyways,
So while
moving
this is
along.
all going on, the coronation stuff, and we see Rhaenys kind of slip away off to the side, right? She's still kind of in hidden person garb, if you want to call it.
Conveniently.
And she slides off when everyone's attention's forward, right? This is like, okay, we kind of all know what she's doing, you know, to some
There
extent of
is
like,
not a
she's gonna go ahead
single
and sneak.
guard.
Well, yeah, I mean, no,
They're all have to be at the front.
everyone's
The
watching.
sword-
They're all
So many swords.
they're all busy.
We need everybody, all hands on deck. To
Talk
do this.
about perfect time to go
the
rob
sword
the
thing.
local bank. You know, this would be it. But you know, it's she sneaks off to the side, and yeah, coronation happens, right? And so at least the people of the city are seeing that Aegon has been crowned. There's no question going on here. There's buy-in from the masses, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't Cole put the crown on him?
He does, and he
Remember
says
that?
a couple words too, and I'm like, how the
Yeah.
fuck is this your place,
Yeah, fuck
Yeah, I
it.
know.
Well, he's been named the new
But isn't the crown
Lord
burned?
Commander?
Lord Commander.
It's charred.
It's slightly charred. Yeah.
Like I was. Under
It's
the
like a level
presumption-
3 toast.
Well, I was under the presumption that possibly like
Whiskey triggers.
Viserys got charred with the crown on him because we see Alicent place it upon his body,
Mm-hmm.
and then it comes out. Look, the next time we see it, it's
Yeah.
definitely not the same gold. It is definitely like a
I think
darker.
This is a different crown.
Toast.
Do you think it's? That's what I wasn't sure.
'Cause,
This
yeah,
is
well,
Aegon's crown.
not-
This is Aegon the
Well, I
Conqueror.
don't know what
crown.
that means.
From the
but
preview,
okay.
I don't want to be this guy,
Aegon the
but the
Conqueror.
previews from the next, like, it was
Okay.
Erek, I
He's
guess
got
his
eight-
name. He takes the crown, the gold crown, to Rhaenyra, I think.
Right.
That's something that he grabbed. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
But from
sorry,
here,
sorry.
like, I
Forward
don't.
thing.
That's just
There-
from
Yeah,
the
I was
preview.
lost.
This
I'm
is
sorry,
Abby.
okay.
This is Aegon the Conqueror's crown and sword. He's
I-
holding, you know, yeah.
Thought that okay. I just had a different thought. Thank you for clearing it up. I was lost. I didn't watch the next on because again I was driving.
And I did not watch the spoilers, the leaked episodes. I still have not watched it. Just putting it out there.
I didn't
Well,
even know there was
I
an
haven't, I haven't
option.
either. I just like it was from
It's-
the previews is what I
Right.
was talking
No.
about.
Yeah.
Like,
No, and you're not wrong, Glenn. Yeah.
I'm
that's-
glad to have
that
it
wasn't
cleared up.
previous.
I'm not questioning it. Like I just was like, did they like? I literally my thought was like, did they cremate his body and then take the
yeah.
crown out?
The crown
And
was
I was like, wow,
crown
that's
didn't
like kind
burn.
of dark. Like that was what I thought. But okay.
So
good to know.
another thing in this moment with Christian Kaleidoscope Cole, he
Kaleidoscope.
gets a nickname moving forward, not from us, but this because of his actions taken at the Green
So it's
Council
not
early on,
coleslaw.
and I guess they're having him actually crown him. I don't remember if that's really how it went or not on that specifically, but he becomes known as Kristen Cole,
Columbine
Kingmaker.
Cole.
They call him Kingmaker from here on because of his actions throughout this kaleidoscope,
And there is
colonoscopy,
one,
Cole.
Oh,
Columbine.
And there is one reference to
Corpicine.
Christian Cole, the Kingmaker, in Song Ice and Fire
Absolutely.
book series.
Absolutely.
is there?
Oh yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Jamie Lannister is showing Loras Tyrell the White Book, and he's talking about the Great Kingsguard and the Not So Great, and they talk about Christian Cole, the Kingmaker, and that's it. That's
Kristen Cole.
I know. Yes, Kristen Cole, the Kingmaker,
Mhm.
and they mention of he did that because out of love, and this thing goes, did he? You know, it was along those lines,
Mhm.
like
Out of lunch.
It was, yeah. So he
It's
does.
kind of like that
Kristen
cousin
Cole does have.
who just he always has to be in the center of everything, even though you're just like, why?
not
That's all.
that I know exactly who you're talking about, but you know, I do. That was a joke. But yeah, so crown happens. Anything else before we have an eruption of sorts? Nothing? All right.
An
So
erection? I think that happened earlier.
that was earlier. An erection, a 5-on-1 game of tag. And no, so we get a dragon sighting, and this is an exciting
So-
dragon sighting, I think.
So there was a cool thing when they're like crowning Aegon. There's a cool base going on, and it's a timed base. It's good. It's good. And it keeps going all the way through. Basically, once they're doing all that, as he raises his sword and all that, and it's very subtly there because of the big noise, but you still hear the under everything else, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then bam, out through the floor. So it's like, okay, it was so well done where it's just like this undertone bass, but it's basically like looking back at it, watching on the second watch through, I'm like, okay, that's Melee's climbing up or whatever, getting to the point to blast through. I'm like, okay, that was a cool little touch. I'll give them that one on that whole scene, just the build up, because it's just making it sound like a good bass line in the music that's swelling, and it's not, because it's kind of off time too. It sounds more like steps than it does a bass line in the music itself.
Cool. No, I didn't catch that. But yeah, no, I thought this was pretty cool though. Specifically how much love we've had for Rainey's in this episode, like, and it culminates here. I was like, fuck yeah, like, do your thing. And clearly she has the option of wiping out everyone. She kills a lot of peasants here. Like, that happens. There's no way a lot of them survived.
But then in the after the episode, well, she doesn't kill them, and she doesn't. It's like, but you killed all these fucking innocents.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I was gonna say. Like,
Go
the
ahead,
plot
Glenn.
armor is thick with the the green eggs and ham, but not so much with the sacrificial masses.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And
The ham.
but yeah, she specifically.
Why doesn't she kill him? I don't understand.
Because then we don't
I
have a story.
literally don't understand.
She could.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely
All your
can.
problems are literally
So
It literally
Gone.
would have solved everything, right? I mean,
okay, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go into the whole Reddit fucking drama
We-
fucking shit.
can you let
People
Glenn finish
shitting
his
on-
thought real quick?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
I was just gonna say, I think Rainey's just doesn't want the responsibility. Like, she almost wants to be neutral. I think, or not.
She doesn't
really
want the
have
blood on her hands
the blood
necessarily.
exactly. Like, he doesn't want to, cross that threshold of now I'm innocent in front of all these masses that she didn't kill. Like, if that was the case, then she'd probably have to kill everybody, because they'd be like, well, Rainey's is
A monster,
The criminal
she's
here.
yeah, absolutely. We just saw him be crowned king. Everyone there believes that there's no wrongdoing, right? Like, no one is against this idea, and so if she does that, then yeah, I mean, that's literally treason. In front of everybody
Yeah.
here. So I think it's just more complicated than okay. Well, she is Rainey's,
I
and
thought
she
she
can
was
just
gonna-
get away with
I thought
it.
she was gonna
I don't
say
know.
something like, "We need to talk."
We need to talk, Glenn. All right, Benj, what's the Reddit drama, whatever?
So okay, I'm not getting the whole Sarah Hess hate and everything. She hasn't made me that. I haven't been
who's
that
Sarah
annoyed.
Hess.
She was the writer of this episode.
This
Okay.
episode, in episode 6. So there's been a whole thing, and I'm not.
What
getting
happened in
involved
episode 6? Quickly, just give me like the highlights. So I know.
It was a show.
in that.
Okay, fine.
Lena,
It's run of the mill.
Lena's death is the big one.
Okay,
Is
all right, cool,
basically
all right.
making
Yep, yep,
Damon not sympathetic. Anyway,
Okay, fine.
with this though, it's this is not anywhere mentioned in Fire and Blood. This show, we were told, is the true-ish telling, because Fire and Blood is multiple observations and multiple shit. Nobody ever mentioned Rhaenys, the Princess of Driftmark, blasting through the dragon pit floor to confront the Greens and everything like that. And you would think somewhere in the history of A Song of Ice and Fire, it would have been mentioned that this badass girl boss moment of blasting through the floor to, confront them and then take off would have been mentioned. It doesn't. This is a complete show fabrication, which I get. But at the same time, it does leave plot holes, and Phil's saying it's answered in this episode that's on tonight, and I will find out and everything. But it's basically Sarah has
spoiler.
said, she came up with the idea. Wouldn't it be cool if Rhaenys just blasted through the floor, or if a dragon just blasted through the floor, or Baelor Sept, or something like that? And it's like, okay, so you
Not
got
Baelor
that,
Sept.
and it's like, I understand. She said Baelor Sept,
The
whatever.
Taj Mahal.
She made that comment, and it's one of those of, so she got that, and it happened, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. It just, to the story, it would have made more sense for her as Rhaenys to release the dragon, come to the front door, and bark at do the whole "Rah!" to the entire crowd, not kill anyone, and then fuck off. It would have made more logical sense to do it that way than to have her blast through the floor, not kill the Greens, and then take off. Also, shout out to OVH for actually trying to open the door on this one, where the whole episode he's trying to shut the doors and keep them closed. This one he's actually trying to keep them open. You know,
He's not
just
trying to
anyway.
hold the door, right?
Ooh, not
Is
today.
that too soon?
Not trying.
Too soon? Yeah, probably. I have that
Okay.
book somewhere.
Yeah, but
No,
anyway, it's
I think with Rainey's though, like, because she never gave her answer to Allison, but I think like this is a moment where, here's my fucking answer. Like, I'm leaving on my dragon. Get the fuck out of here.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Randy Jackson on
It's
Dragonback.
gonna be a no for me, dog.
yeah. So that was my whole. I was kind of siding with the red stuff and all that, and looking back in it, yeah, it can be annoying. When I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, cool ass moment. That's rocking.
No.
But that's meant for people who don't know it's for the show watcher. It's for you want that big moment apart from the actual story, kind of thing. So that I can
What is
understand
this
the anger
thing
with
that's
it.
like a whole lot of talk, but not like there's nothing to back it up. There's a couple of them I know, but like you talk a big game, but you don't back it up. That's kind of how I felt.
People in glass houses sink ships. That's
Yep.
what you're
What was the? I tried to tell Hank about the bucket. I was like, I don't know, kick the bucket. I know that was half of the thing he said last time. So, anyways, think on that last episode. You made a mashup. It was something with kick the bucket.
I
So,
don't
anyways.
remember. I wasn't there.
You were. It was you.
Any other thoughts here? So she melees, screams, doesn't flame, jumps, flies out.
Yep.
That's pretty much it, right? I mean,
Yep.
I thought it was a cool scene. I mean, I'm gonna ignore it being a plot
Sure.
hole thing. I'm excited to watch the show that has been airing while we were recording, but that's what they chose to do. That's what's gonna happen with any TV show. So there you go. I don't know. We'll see where it turns into. I mean, I know some of the major things that are
Very
gonna
quickly.
happen, but
We will figure it out.
we'll
As
figure it
soon as
out.
it's
We'll
over in
out.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Oh
you
man,
see.
look, we get more exciting bots jumping out into
That's
the
so cool.
chat. So neat. But
Hey, the bigger you get, the more bots you get. So we're okay
Is
with
that
it.
a saying?
We have
The
arrived.
bigger you
there
get?
we go.
Sure.
That's what it is. All right. So, episode title accuracy. The Green Council.
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty true
Yeah.
on this one. I mean, we find out that the Greens, even unbeknownst to Alicent, have been doing things on Aegon's behalf much longer than we expect. I mean,
And-
it's not surprising to
and
us, but
Beesbury,
it's surprising.
too.
And Beesbury.
Had no idea.
Oh, what are you from, Shrewsbury? No.
No.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty fair title. It's the most important scene in this episode, I think. It's one of those pinpoint moments in all of Fire and Blood and all that stuff. So, yeah, makes sense to me. Description accuracy. While Alicent enlists Cole and Aemond to track down Aegon, Otto gathers the great houses of Westeros to affirm their allegiance.
I mean, yes, but it kind of leaves out some of the stuff that OVH did too. Like he enlisted. He could have just said Allison and OVH enlist their people to go
Kingsguard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
do their thing or whatever.
Sure.
But
I
just
mean,
the way it sounds here, Allison's the only one that enlists anyone to find the prince.
right. Yeah. No,
and,
it's
and Otto's only job is to get the great houses together of Westeros.
and say, hey, you guys
Affirm
can
their
come and
allegiances.
say cool stuff that I like. Yeah.
They don't mention anything about Club Sandwich rubbing one out.
Yeah. No foot references in there at all.
Sure.
I think that's a total whiff.
So missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity. I think that's
connections,
I
I
think
guess.
that's fair. Craigslist. There you go.
Craigslist.
All right. Favorite or least favorite things? Do we do this combined or we do both? I don't remember.
It's one or the other, or like if you
It's
have
one
both.
you get one or the
That's,
other.
that's what I thought. So favorite or least favorite thing? Good dog.
Favorite thing, I kind of enjoyed like the brothers Cargill versus Aemon Cole, like kind of
Like
like
this
that.
amazing race thing.
Yeah, and like at the same time, like I had no idea what was gonna go down, or I figured they were gonna find him and stuff like that, but how they got there, it was kind of interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Abby, favorite or least favorite thing?
As I talked about earlier, I do feel like they're writing this show knowing that people watching this are very much like avid Game of Thrones lovers, and they are using that against us. And I expected episode 9, and I could be wrong, but like episode 9 should be big,
Mhm.
right? Like it should be a big deal. And my least favorite thing is shh, that nothing happened that I did not expect to happen, except him being under the candle table. Like, that was the biggest surprise of the entire episode. Like, this is episode 9, people. You used it against me, and I'm
Yeah.
pissed.
Go ahead, Mitch. Yeah, favorite, least favorite thing.
Least favorite thing was the episode to me.
The whole
Like,
thing.
comparatively to the rest of the series or to the season and series so far, I've enjoyed every episode. I didn't know what to expect, and this one I could see where it was going from. As I made my joke with my drink, the lighting was very fucking dark for most of it, for a lot
See,
of it.
I
It
didn't
wasn't as
notice that
dark as
again.
other scenes.
I didn't
It
notice.
wasn't as dark as others. Like there were other, shots and other episodes, but this one, it's just such a dark tone to this episode that didn't need to be. They stuck on scenes that didn't need to be stuck on so much. And yeah, I mean, actually, no, I can't say they lingered, but there was nothing of substance apart from a few key things. The council meeting, big, need that. The hunt for Aegon could be cut in half. The meeting with White Worm, fine, have that. But it's like there's like so many things that just weren't necessary that I don't know could, and I don't know the source material, so I don't know what else they could have put in and everything like that. But it's just like I don't know. I just didn't dig this one that much. Like I didn't dislike the episode. It just wasn't as good as every other episode I've seen of this show. This is
I
my least favorite episode. And to Abby's point, it may have been because it's episode 9. It's supposed to be
Right.
the climax to the resolution. And there wasn't, so maybe it just expectations subverted kind of thing. But I just didn't entirely dig the episode itself.
I also think they've asked us all season long to like fill in gaps, use our brains a little bit. Like they haven't necessarily given us everything, but nothing was too hard to like jump from here to there or whatever. Like, and this episode was like, this is exactly what is going on. Here it is. And the whole time you're like, yeah, and
Yes,
uh,
and
yeah, and like, oh, he's under a table. Oh, yeah, that was it.
Oh,
Okay,
Aemon wants to be king.
good
Okay,
story.
cool. Good to know. Like that was, I think, my big takeaway was Aemon wants to be king. He, feels it's, he'd be better. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I can get on board with that. I like Aemon. I'm an Aemon guy. I like that character. So I'm like, cool. Aemon wants to be king. Hopefully he can be king. And so I'm on board with it. But beyond that, it's like, meh.
Okay, my favorite or least favorite thing. I thought they did a pretty good job with the Great Council scene. I mean, I didn't like Cole in it very much. I like that they got to the point of he definitely just kills Beesbury. Not it's I didn't really like the action the angle they took on that. I kind of was hoping he just would have slit his throat.
Could be accident.
No, right. I don't like that. I think I like the idea of Cole just nope, you're done. Like, and
Yeah.
I've always been a bigger fan of that line for the story. But in general, I liked Alicent throughout it, her surprise and ignorance, but like truly still wanting to do the right thing. It feels very what I've seen her character as this whole time. And she's always had to make decisions, but it's still hard for her. It's difficult. And I don't know. I thought they did a good job of, we're going to close doors and then we open the doors. That was kind of silly too. But in general, I liked I liked the High Towers and I liked Lannister and Beesbury. All of them had a decent point in there. Westerling I thought was great. I loved seeing him just be like, I do not have a place in this and I'm getting the fuck out of here. So that was probably my favorite thing on this episode.
Yeah, great scene. I enjoyed that one. And again, I enjoyed the episode. It's just wasn't as good. So
Benji, take
I
us
do have a
through
new
our
section.
take us through
Yeah.
our episode name suggestions, please.
So these are ones I've accumulated through the chat. Some have pointed out to me, others I've just read, and I'm like, you know what? That could be fitting. So the first one that popped up was from Jake, Allison Stock Changer. I was like, okay, that he mentioned that a little early, and then it wasn't like a hey named thing. I like that one. Mike, this was part of a full thing, but he said Colk Smash, as in Cole Smash,
Mhm.
in reference to Cole and Beesbury. Mine was in reference to Otto saying he wanted the third door to be open. So third door down, open, or 3 doors down, open it. That is not that good. Abby and Glenn had paid the foot toll.
I
Which
think I said.
was that
Somebody,
okay?
somebody said.
They both laughed at my joke.
It's-
It's good.
Fair, fine.
I don't really give a shit. Oh, it's so funny, guys.
Oh my
God.
God, that's
You guys are lucky to have me.
hilarious.
Mike did have another one called Queen Alicent's Only Feats, which I do kind of like that one. And then Phil threw in Kool-Aid Queen that wasn't. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna throw my vote behind Queen Alicent's Only Feat.
Glenny,
I'm good with that, I guess.
Abby, you're muted, but don't care.
She's giving the nod.
Doesn't
Luke,
matter.
if you had to pick.
I'm good with Only Feats. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
All
I think
right,
it's
there we
between
go.
that and Pay the Foot Toll. I think those are my two favorites for sure.
Gotta pay the foot
That's
tolls.
fine. I didn't mind the foot toll one. I do like the foot toll one. I just more what's that? I can't think of the word. More current
Only-
affairs.
only
Bum, bum,
feedy.
bum.
Sure. There you go. All right. Our little company here, Drawbridge Media, has several podcasts. The one that Abby's going to tell you about today is
She's mute.
The podcast that unmutes and things.
that's a new
So-
show.
Right now, I think they just finished up the podcast that Wonders and Losts. It goes over the episodes that were just released and season finale of
Rings
the
of
show.
Power.
Rings of Power. Great. Melissa, Luke, Bailey, Riley take you on an epic adventure through the show, kind of like we do this one. Probably less cussing, but probably more intelligent. You should check it out. You can find them on Drawbridge Media, here on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcatchers. Yeah, podcatchers, that's the word.
There you go. And you can do that. And Glenn, what are your house name?
Glen of House Dog.
House words.
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
Your house sigil.
It is a doggo with a hockey sweater. Quick story, like I can't remember where I was at, but I saw like somebody had their dog dressed up like in a Halloween costume, and the dog looked at me and was like, "This sucks."
You guys connected.
It was a doggo with a hockey sweater, but only if he wants to have it on.
You know, I think that's responsible and very fair of you. You're also wearing your sigil on your shirt today, I see.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see in this light, but yeah, there he is. And what are your final thoughts on this episode?
It was your run-of-the-mill 9th episode of a 10-episode series of House of the Dragon. Like, you know, we saw this coming, right?
We all wrote this script.
This is
for sure.
We've seen this time and time again.
Abby, house name.
Muted.
She doesn't mute.
Ah, damn it. Hello, I am Gertie of House Condescension.
House words.
We don't quit.
House sigil.
Field of white with a rating sitting upon a black, appointed chevron.
Final thoughts on the episode.
There was a time that I was the mother of drains, and I was so happy in this episode to have a callback. Mother of drains or frames is what we'll call it. There was a great shot that was like harkening back to a Cersei. It was Rainey's in front of these beautiful windows with like these labyrinth. Oh, so good. I don't know what to call it. It's like metalwork. I'm just happy. I've seen it in some here and there, but this was another shot. I was happy to see it here. Just beautiful metalwork coming through it, either a drain or a frame.
All right, there you go.
It was a good deal.
I am Lucan of House Blackmead. House words are ours is the drink. House sigil is an obsidian black chalice on a field of gold and blue checky background. Final thoughts. I didn't think this was that bad of an episode. I enjoyed it for what it was. I went in with zero expectations of it being what we would normally see as an episode 9. I think that they probably were trying to thwart expectations. There are problems with it, sure. They didn't bother me watching it without thinking about it, which is their goal with it. That's fine. I didn't mind the episode. I'm not trying to put this. I'd never heard that they're making this the true, actual telling of the story. This is always going to be an adaptation of something, and they have to choose some of the mixed tales that we've all, if you've read Fire and Blood with the, misleading information, they just have to choose one. Yeah, if you're going to compare it side by side, it doesn't really make sense, sure. But I thought it was a good shock moment to have the dragon come up through the ground. I thought it was well shot. I thought the dragon looked cool. I'm not going to worry about her intentions. It sounds like we're going to figure that out here real soon. So those are my final thoughts on it. I didn't think it was as bad as the two on the computer screen thought. That's what it sounds like to me. So
I didn't think it was bad. I
nope,
was
you hated it. You
misled.
fucking hated it. You hated it. You hated
I unmuted,
it.
so I didn't think so.
You hated it. Ben, house words. Or house name, sorry.
Slive House McLean.
House words.
It's dangerous to drink alone.
Sigil.
3 black triangles on a red balloon.
Give your final thoughts again, because you kind of did that during your favorite thing, too. So go ahead. I'm just being a dick.
Well,
He's a dick.
I'm going to rebut. I didn't hate the episode. It was good. I enjoyed it.
But you
Now
hated
It
I'm
was your
thinking
least
about it,
favorite
thinking,
thing. Your least favorite thing was the episode.
It was
I know.
of the series. Like I had it because I enjoyed the episode, but as a whole,
Didn't sound like
compared
that
to
to
the
me.
rest of the series,
It's okay.
no,
It's okay.
compared to compared to the rest of the series,
What letter grade would this
it
get?
wasn't as good. I'd give this a C+ to a B-.
Okay.
You
Not what I expected from what you were
Yeah,
saying. a
no,
little
I
bit
mean
ago.
it's a C. I enjoyed this episode. I did, especially when I can sit back,
Fucking
especially when I can sit back
Extra
and
special. yeah. Extra
when I can
special.
sit back and extra specially when I can sit back and just or not even watch it, think about it, it's great. But then when I stop and think about it, it's like, oh fuck, that's fucked, that's fucked, that's fucked. Same thing I did with the long night. It was like I watched and I was like, fuck yeah, hell yeah. I jumped out of my seat when Arya stabbed the Night King. Hell yeah. But then thinking about it, it's like that doesn't make fucking sense. And so it's the same thing I'm doing with this episode. I still enjoyed the episode. It was fun. It was a fun jaunt through King's Landing. Great, so there we go. My final thought there really is Melee's has better feet.
Well said.
Nice.
Oh boy. All right.
That
Well,
should have been
that could
an
be a-
episode title.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
on that note, you can become a patron at patreon.com/stayimaginary to find out all the ways you can help keep our beer bank full. We truly appreciate it. You can also check out the podcast that.com/support us and buy us a beer. That'd be cool. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Know and Drink. Send us a digital raven to knowanddrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments here on Drawbridge Media YouTube or on your favorite podcast catcher. And until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
And as always, do not, whatever you do, turn your back on the wolf pack.
And as always, winter is coming, and apparently, per the kids in King's Landing, so did Aegon.
Ooh, woof.
Oh.
And as always, thanks for being here. Stay imaginary.